Anti-derivative Jill.
Can I offer you some tea?
Good tea. Nice house.
Hello, welcome. I'm Anti-Derivative Jill, and I love to celebrate science fiction, but I also enjoy learning about whatever I can from the panel and the chat. And in particular, one person that I've learned a whole bunch from 60s television is here on the panel with me today. And he's Pleasant Valley Picker CA, and we started doing some watch parties recently, and
Yes, we did.
yeah, and just this year is the first year that I ever started watching Man from Uncle, and so that just it's the topic today. Unfortunately, it's not. It's because we lost David McCallum at the age of
Yeah.
90.
Yeah, I think he was 6 days past his 90th birthday, if I remember Wikipedia when I read
Had just turned
Wikipedia.
90.
He just turned 90, yeah, not even a week before. But hey, he made it to 90, which is an achievement. I think if I make it to 90, I'll be fairly happy. So
Oh, yeah, no kidding. That is a good age, but it is always unfortunate when we lose another soul, especially someone who has provided a bunch of joy to a lot of people. I had only just met him this year, as I said, so I'm glad that I have someone on the panel who knows him a little bit better than I do. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
do prefer him over Solo.
Well, I know I always suspected that you did. But I was reading on some of the fan, well, not, I guess they are basically fan pages, because it doesn't seem to be, sadly, that I can't find an official Man from Uncle website anywhere that, not that I've done a thorough search, but in the few hours I did, do some research this week, I don't think there's an actual manfromuncle.com, which seems weird
Yeah,
for,
that is pretty sad. I did find some old website, but it had broken links. It didn't have very
oh,
much information, and there
it's not good.
isn't a whole lot of production episode by episode, but I did manage to find a book that talks a little bit about David McCallum that I can reference.
Oh, excellent. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'll be doing that in a little bit, but right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the slides because I want to
Sure.
we're not doing scene by scene. This isn't Tuesday on Fridays. I just let the slides go. If you need a pause, you gotta tell me, okay?
Yeah, if I see anything particularly interesting, I will point it out.
Okay, great. And so I'd also like to say hello to the chat before we get started on this review
Oh,
in particular.
good,
So
good
if you
plan.
need me to pause, Switzerland, of course, the headquarters is a broken watch shop. That makes sense.
Well, I really like the subtle humor in the opening scene when they go to Uncle's Geneva headquarters, and of course, the front is, as you say, it's like a clock watch kind of store, selling timepieces, and I'm thinking that's hilarious because that's what the Swiss are known for, is their great timepieces,
Well, it
right?
could have been that or a cheese shop.
Well, yeah, but I thought the clocks were hilarious, and it made
Mhm.
more sense because you wouldn't enter Uncle Geneva headquarters through a block of cheese. It makes more sense to go through a grandfather clock, right, Bill?
Yeah, of course. And I want to be sure to say hello to Frankel Walker. And of course, the bad guy is rubbing honey all over the seats. That's what you do because when you want to attract the bees
Oh, by the
want to go
way,
to the honey.
uh, I just want to. Well, you proceed. Go ahead.
Mhm.
This was cool.
I'm always going
He
to
turns
proceed.
the dial. He turns the dial at to 3 o'clock or something to open the door. I thought that was
Uh,
kind of cool.
yeah, of course. There's always a secret to in the pretend because the watch
Oh,
shop is obviously the cover, just like the tailor shop is the cover in New York City.
yeah, and then the tailor shop, you have to pull the little hook on the wall, right? The little hanger thing.
Hmm. And I want to say hello to Matt G
Hey,
and also
Matthew.
Mark Harkness.
Hello, Mark.
He says, "Greetings to
Oh,
all
actually, can we go back a little
hetero
bit there?
sleepers." Oh, you want to go back? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just a
sure.
little
We can
bit
go back a
to
bit.
when they're in the hallway. Now, look at these camera angles here.
Hmm.
That's a very unusual. I don't remember we've watched, like I say, 40 odd episodes now, Jill, and I do
Okay.
not remember another episode where they had inside Uncle headquarters corridor where they had a camera shot. Like this looks like a crane shot to me, right? Which I'm finding very interesting because the corridors are
Um,
they're big, but they're not that big. So I'm kind of wondering how they actually pulled this one off because it looks like some kind of crane shot with an overhead camera, right?
yeah, that would be cool if we had more production notes for that, but that sounds right.
Yeah,
It sounds good to
yeah.
me.
But
And hello to Snortapoopus Cuber.
that did catch my attention immediately at the
Mhm.
beginning of the episode. I thought this is there's some very unusual camera angles at the beginning here.
Yes.
Oh, another thing too, with all the dead bodies, um, lying around in the Geneva headquarters, I read somewhere that some stations, when Uncle was re-airing, like on reruns in the '80s or whatever, some stations would actually cut a lot of these scenes with the dead bodies.
Oh,
They would basically
really?
censor it. Yeah,
They just decided people don't need to see dead bodies?
I
Even though
guess.
that's part of the story. The
Well,
whole
yeah,
story is
it
that
would totally ruin
everybody
it.
died in the Switzerland headquarters.
And
How do
why
you
they
know
died,
everybody died? Yeah,
and why
right.
they died too, right, Jill? So yeah,
And, did I say hello to Mark Harkness? The A Team did a salute send up by having Robert Bond character get abducted by David McCallum.
they
Wow.
did appear, I think, in
What does
an
that mean?
episode of the A Team.
Oh,
The A-Team TV series, Joel.
okay, that's great. Oh, yeah, I do realize the A Team is a TV series. I just, I haven't
I
seen
never
that. That's
watched it
cool.
myself. My friend Jim was a big time A-Team fan, but I could just never get into it. I watched a couple and it was
Mhm.
like,
That's
eh.
fair enough. Wrinkle Walker says, please subscribe, share, and hit the like and select a live chat. Yeah, if you don't select live chat, you miss some of the chat. I don't know why they even do that.
Yeah.
What is even the purpose?
Why do they? It always defaults to top chat, doesn't it? It seems.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say hello to Don Don Ranger Power also and Gorilla's Random Thoughts.
Hello,
And
hi Gorilla.
okay, yes, hope everyone is mighty and morphin this Friday despite the passing of David McCallum. And also, rest in peace, Sir Michael Gambon, which actually I have. I've always been keeping a deep, dark secret for a long time now. Dalek451 knows about it because he shares it too. No, not really. Really, it's just since my channel is more science fiction based, I don't really talk a whole lot about my Harry Potter fandom here, but I really do love it, and it is important to say goodbye to Michael Gambon too, and he's of course he's done more than Dumbledore, a lot more, but but um but he even though yeah he didn't really read the books or anything, so it took him a while to figure out Dumbledore, but when he got it, he did splendidly, and so he was a pretty important part of my life, so it is important to mention him. Thank you so much, Donnie, for remembering Michael Gambon. Sir Michael Gambon, as
Yeah.
you say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing when we lose these actors. Um, Even though we never met them, of course we didn't know them
Mhm.
as people. Um,
Yeah.
it's still like a part of us dies with them because I mean I remember watching Uncle in the '60s as I was pretty young. I was a kid basically when this show was airing, and I remember this was probably one of my favorite shows. Because
Wow.
they
One of
didn't
your
they
favorite?
didn't well we had
Well, that
one
makes sense
channel.
why you picked it.
We had
It's
one
the first
channel.
show you picked for us to watch.
The thing is, Joe, we only had a single TV channel in my area, and they only showed the hit shows. And Uncle, of course, being a popular hit show, it got aired. Whereas Star Trek didn't until it went into reruns. That's the first time I saw it.
Oh,
Um,
okay. You didn't get it until it went into syndication. That's
it went into
interesting.
syndication in the fall of 1969. I believe it was September '69 when my channel finally started
Hmm.
showing it. So yeah, it was basically into rerun, into syndication. Yeah, exactly.
And I wanted to
But
make sure
Uncle,
to say hello to Gorilla and also Mega Cropper.
Mega Cropper.
He says, "Hey peeps, sad news about Gil. Only found out a couple days ago. R.I.P. A generous dude." Yeah, no kidding, Mega
Yeah.
Cropper. I'm so sorry you weren't here when we've had. If you look back through several of your subscriptions, lots of channels have done tribute streams for him, and we've. But of course, we never have to stop talking about him just because you missed those streams. You can always go back and listen to those, and but he will definitely always be remembered and mentioned because he's a very important person to us here on the internet.
Well, yeah, he had a major channel in the community. Let's face it. I mean, he had so much content. I was actually very impressed always by how hard Gil worked on building his channel because he had a lot of different, kinds of streams, not just, focused on any particular thing.
He was the
And
first person. He was one of the two first first people to encourage me to engage and interact in a way more beyond just as a viewer.
right. Yeah, and look how your channel's growing because
Yeah,
of that,
no,
you know.
I would he would pester me. What, Joe, when are you gonna start a channel? Like, it's
Yeah.
great that you're coming on mine, but what are you
Well,
gonna
I
do?
always I always find it very interesting that you describe yourself as an introvert and a shy person, and yet
I
anytime I've been
am.
on your streams, but you don't seem like one. Like I guess it's weird because
Yeah, because I'm off camera. You put the
I could
camera on, I
well,
will clam up. And I want to say hello to Classic Comics.
but I
Hey,
would
Classic
describe
Comics.
myself. Well, sorry, go ahead.
You you describe yourself as what? I'm sorry.
Yes, he was created by Ian Fleming. Actually,
Yes, Napoleon Solo was created by Ian Fleming to be an American version of Bond.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
Ian Fleming was the creator of James Bond, and briefly they brought him in at the before they began filming season one to get some, I guess, some ideas, because they were basically doing a spy show, and Ian Fleming was like the king of spies because he'd been doing Bond for a couple years before that. So they brought him in, and I guess Fleming realized that it would be a conflict of interest with his contract with the producers of the James Bond films. So he bowed out quite early on. I think he was paid a nominal fee. He didn't ask for a lot of money, so he just took like a little stipend, payment to exit. And the one thing he did create of significance in the series was the name Napoleon Solo.
Mhm. All right. Classic Comics says originally Solo was supposed to be the main star with a revolving roster of guest stars who would play specialists who assist depending on the needs of the plot.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying he wasn't supposed to have a sidekick?
Well, you remember in some of the early episodes, Joe, when we watched them, the first season black and white ones, there were some episodes that had not a whole lot of Ilya in them, right?
No, okay, you're right. Oh, hey, welcome to Pop Culture Curator.
Hello, hello. Sorry I'm a little late. Looks like Leo G. Carroll is
Oh,
guest starring in this.
Hi, Pop.
Leo G.
Hello, good to
Carroll?
see you.
Oh, yeah,
Leo
yeah,
G.
Good to
hi.
see
Carroll.
you. Good to
Right,
see you
that's the
too,
old man
Pop.
with the bushy eyebrows. He starred in the movie
Yeah,
Tarantula.
he's in every episode. He's a main character. He's Mr. Waverly. He's
Oh,
like the
that's right.
boss.
That's right. It's been such
Yeah,
a long time since I've seen this.
yeah,
Mhm.
Mr. Waverly. Yeah, I always liked Mr. Waverly. I thought he was a really cool character, actually, because there weren't a lot of. Let's face it, there's still not a lot of shows where an older person gets to play a major character in a series on a regular basis, and they actually write him as a resourceful and intelligent leader, basically, you know, and he's a really great character. I really like Mr. Waverly.
Yeah, he definitely does very well. And hello to Girls Random Thoughts. He says, Jill, thanks for breakfast the other day, which means I must have cursed at some point and he went to go buy a lottery ticket.
Oh, this is cool. We're overlooking how they're being,
I'm
chased
gonna.
by the bees here, right?
Well, no,
And
I'm
then
not there yet. I wanted to. Uh, okay, I'll save these for later then. Yes, I do also have the episode going on here. This is actually a really fun Man from Uncle episode. It's also kind of silly. The Birds and the Bees affair first aired on January 21st, 1966, and it was written by Mark Weingart and directed by Alvin McAnzer. And in this episode, David McCallum is he gets to win the lady in this episode, which is kind of funny because it's usually solo, so it's always fun when that happens. But
Actually, it's
at
spelled McCullum, but I think most people pronounce it McCallum. David
McCallum.
McCallum.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, McCallum. Yeah, see, that's what I mean.
Yeah, definitely
Not
McCallum.
knowing by not knowing him.
Oh, John MacGyver, of course.
John MacGyver was pretty good in this one. And John
He was a
Abbott,
good character actor. I always thought he looked like an owl.
I won't argue with that.
He was
He
in
was
one of the best Twilight Zones, A Tale of Sounds and Silences.
Yeah, Twilight Zone was a great show.
Yeah.
I like the opening when they have to drive the car into the lake to escape the bees, and then it freeze frames and goes to the classic Uncle Blur before the main credits start. I really thought that was a kind of a real fun opening.
Well, that is an interesting part of the episode. We never really get to see exactly how they escape from the car. So
Well,
I guess they,
there are heroes. They have to escape, right, Jill?
of course. Well, no, it looked like they just sunk right to the bottom.
Yeah, you would think
Oh,
so.
and before that, there was honey smeared all over the car, and the
Yeah,
first thing that Solo does is the seat is sticky, so he tastes it.
yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, if you sit in something sticky, is your first instinct to taste it?
Nope. Definitely not.
No, I didn't think so.
I might smell it first, and if I said, "Oh, that smells like honey," then maybe I'd take a chance. But there's no way
That's
I'm
true.
sticking something sticky off a car seat. I'm generally probably not going to taste it, to be honest.
That's true. Honey does have a pungent odor, but still,
Yeah,
with
but
all
yeah,
the
it was a
poison going around in this show.
fun opening though, and it was a great introduction to the main theme of the episode as well. They did a
Well,
good job
right,
on the
because
opening.
they have these teeny little bees, of course, very conveniently. They're practically invisible. Oh, but we could see them that they're actually a breed of a bee. That's what they look like, but we never see them because they're conveniently so small you can't see them.
Yeah,
So
well,
so we
that's
have a whole bunch of actors waving their hands around during this episode at bees that are not there, but because they're practically invisible.
Yeah, but think how would back in this in '66 or whenever this episode was, it would have been pretty impractical to have scenes with swarms of bees. Like it would have been pretty tough on the special effects budget, right?
So this was a creative way around it. These are special, teeny tiny bees.
Exactly.
What's the benefit though to having bees? Well, I guess they're more. Well, they you can't see them coming. I guess there's that.
But remember, there's one line in the episode where it's mentioned that the bees are so tiny, they're so microscopically sized that they can go through any screen, any mesh. So you could have screens on your window, and the bees are still going to get in and kill you, right? And I think Thrush obviously designed them to be tiny
Hmm.
enough to penetrate, through any barrier, right? Is what I was thinking.
Exactly, like a normal, any kind of normal thing that will keep a bug away won't keep these away.
Yeah.
That's a good answer, PvP. Thank you very much.
Well, you're very welcome.
So, one thing that I like about this episode is that it shows how Ilya he reads entomological texts for fun. That's one of the things that I like about him is that he reads survival journals.
Yeah,
He
that
he's a
scene.
very literary kind of man.
I don't know if you
That's why I
caught
like
the look.
Ilya.
I don't know if you when Ilias asked Napoleon if he'd read it, if you caught the expression on Napoleon's face, it's
Mhm.
like, "Are you kidding?" That made me laugh out loud. It was so
Yeah,
good. Vaughn
yeah, that's the best.
Robert Vaughn's expression there was just perfect. Like he's like, "You're being a pain in the butt again, Ilya." I love that. That was a great line.
And there are lots of bees that don't make honey. But this particular tiny invisible bee, or almost invisible bee, so small they're invisible anyway, likes to eat a particular brand of honey while not being able to make honey itself. It's called a Cumberly honey.
That makes
So
sense actually.
they're picky eaters. That they're picky eaters makes sense to you.
Well, no, it makes sense to me that Thrush would purposely develop a line of killer bees that would only be attracted by their particular brand of honey, right? so they could
Mhm.
corner the market. So anybody else just, smearing something with regular honey, the bees aren't even going to think about it. They won't even notice it, right? So it's like thrush has a little bit of control over the bees because they can place the Cumberland honey where they want, assassinate people, right?
Right. And so yes, I wonder how you construct the DNA of a bee to only like this brand of honey. But they did it. I guess those are just further details when I think too much about this episode. But maybe there's a way to do it. And having done it, it's great. And hello to Ariba Bavel. Good to see you.
Oh, hi, Ari.
Yeah. And of course, anyway, we meet the scientist, Dr. Swan. He's developed these bees. And Dr. Swan is played by John Abbott, who you will remember from the Star Trek episode Errand of Mercy. He played Aelborn the Organian, who stopped Kirk and
Right.
Core from fighting. And then they had the Organian Peace Treaty, which is brought up now and then whenever it's convenient.
Yeah, thanks for jogging my memory. I knew when I watched it yesterday that he looked very familiar, and now it seems like, of course,
It Yep.
it's another Star Trek actor appearing in Uncle because there
Well,
were
that's the
quite a
coolest
few
thing
of them.
about Man from U.N.C.L.E. that you sold me into watching this show because you said there are Star Trek actors, and I think somebody in the chat said, why didn't you talk about the episode with Kirk and Spock in it?" When I didn't think about it. You know what? We should have done that.
Well, the thing was, though, I picked one purposely that had as much McCallum, Ilya
Mhm.
as possible because we're focusing
Sure.
on remembering him today. So, though I think that was the episode that probably sold you on the series, right, Joe? When I told you,
Yeah,
oh, by the way, there's an early episode
totally.
where Shatner and Nimoy actually appear together in quite a few scenes, and you're like, what? I think can't remember actually what sold you. Like, I think I tried for a while to get your interest to watch this show, and you're like, well, it's not sci-fi. I don't know if I'm
Well,
ready. You know,
some episodes are better than others, and I like the women in some episodes better than others, and this is a
oh yeah,
great episode, but the lady in it, although she's gorgeous, she doesn't really have that much of a personality. She's beautiful,
she's
but
more of a
they don't.
she's more of a victim, I think, in this
Uh-huh.
episode. To be honest, Joe.
Yeah. Because but there are plenty of cool Uncle episodes that have more robust female companions where they have
Although,
certain
I,
character traits, whether it's intelligence, naivete, professionalism, something to hook you into caring about them and seeing why they would
oh
be
yeah.
taking part in a spy
Well, the thing is,
kind of
particularly in
adventure.
the earlier ones, when they were doing the innocent average person caught up in the intrigue, right? There were a lot of female characters that were quite interesting, especially like in season one. I remember, right?
Mhm.
And then, of course, we always occasionally we get the evil thrush ladies, which are always diabolical and really cool, pretty much, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, a lot of the more intelligent ladies are on the bad side,
the bad
but
girls.
that's funny. They're bad girls.
I gotta say though, look at this scene here. There's definitely a chemistry here. There's because I remember she was definitely had the hots for Ilya right the first time she
Mhm.
laid eyes on him, right? So I
Well,
thought
she
that was a
has
lot
good
of fun.
taste. Okay, so I'll give
That
her
was
that.
fun.
She has good taste.
She does.
They okay, so they figure out what do they figure out? Napoleon meets Dr. Swan while he's gambling. Oh wow, so this lines up pretty well. And of course the house always wins, but it's even worse here because Mr. Mozart from Thrush, that's the guy in the last scene who was buying all the honey for the bees. He makes sure that Dr. Swan loses so much money that he's dependent upon Thrush to give him more money to throw away. Of course, considering that gambling, I think even even if it's just the house against you, is throwing money away. Um, and Thrush tries to kill Solo here with the cigarette lady and the poison So there's poison put in this boutonniere, and it's supposed to kill Solo. But this other guy's like, you're getting all the luck here. Can I have that? And,
Yeah, boy, did he ever make a bad choice there?
oh, good for Solo though.
Oh yeah, well, of
I don't know.
course we
This
can't
is
have
you
Solo.
picked an adorable episode.
We can't have Solo die, like, but I felt sorry for this guy, like just some innocent guy, and he gets gassed right at the end of the first act. That's pretty funny, actually. Poor guy.
Yeah.
I really felt bad for him, actually. Oh well. This is a
I'm
cool
sure
gun.
he got paid. It is. It's like a lighter, but it's gun. I
Yeah,
love
it's
when
cool.
it's a thing, but it's also another
It's a
thing.
very cool little gun, yeah.
And
And of course,
hell
Solo
yeah.
turns
Yeah,
his
go ahead.
charm on again to escape with the escape with the
Mhm.
ladies.
Yeah, he had to have his moment of that because Ilya is actually stealing the show for that, for
Oh,
the main lady in the episode.
and then we're back to some major Ilya scenes here, which are great. I always love it when Ilya puts on these geeky glasses that he often does. I
Why do you
always
think
get a
I love him?
I get a kick out of that. Every time he puts glasses like this on, I laugh. I have to laugh out loud because it's just so great.
In the military, those were known as birth control glasses.
Well, Ilya does often seem to be a very shy, reserved type of personality with the ladies, which is odd because usually they want to crawl all over him, but he's like, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
You know,
normally he's not receptive to it, and he sometimes he's even oblivious to their advances because he's so
yeah.
busy trying to solve the case or whatever, and that makes him even more attractive to me. So,
I do think
anyway.
Ilya's an introvert. Basically, his core personality is an introvert, even though in his job he can't allow that to affect it, right? So
Right, because he's got to. There's bigger stakes at the moment,
exactly.
but our heroes do find a way to live a little now and then.
Oh, this is a great line. I thought, wow, foreigners. Can you go back for a second?
Oh,
That
sure,
one
sure, sure.
made me laugh out loud. Foreigners, that's the trouble. You give them jobs and they turn on you. It's like, whoa. You wouldn't get that line in a show today, I don't think, would you? Oh, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, and Sora Poopa says most women had hots for Ilya. Yeah, no, that's true. In the book I was reading, it said that he got the most fan mail. Makes sense.
Yeah, apparently
Ugh.
apparently they were getting thousands and thousands of fan letters for him,
Mhm.
as the show went on. Because season 2, I guess, was actually the season where it hit its ratings high point. It was building slowly in season 1, and then season 2 it kind of took off, I guess.
And Snortapoopa says another Star Trek connection. David McCallum was married to Jill Ireland from This Side of Paradise from
That's right.
1957 to 1967. She went
He
on to
was.
marry Charles Bronson.
He was married to Jill Ireland. That's right. Good point. Thank
Bronson
you.
stole her from him. Remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. That's a Jill that made a mistake there.
Yeah, personally, I think McCallum is a better looking man than Bronson. I mean, Bronson's got a certain rugged, appeal, I suppose, but I think David's a much more handsome man.
Yeah, me too. Branko Walker says David McCallum. I'm learning how to spell his name, guys. Thank you for being patient with me on that. I'm an idiot sometimes. Was very shy and reserved in real life too.
Interesting.
And if you like geeky glasses, then I look like Brad Pitt, says Herc 130. Yeah, I do. And also earlier in the chat, Snortapoopa says, oh, okay. David McCallum was supposed to be an occasional character, but he was so popular he became a full co-star. Like you said, he wasn't in the episodes that much at first, and then it built and built. I think
Can
the
you go
book
back
said
a
he,
second
he
there?
was he was first assigned 7 episodes.
Yeah, that's the still. I like how she basically poisons him with the phonographic needle cartridge. I thought that was pretty cool actually. That was
Yeah.
very good writing. Because those phonograph needles are pretty sharp, and you could probably stab yourself with one if you're or accident prone or whatever.
That makes
But
sense.
of course, a thrush lady, so that's why she stabs him and he passes out.
Exactly right. They're at the where are we in the this is the dance instructor.
Yeah, she's the dance instructor
Mhm.
working for Thrush.
And so that's of course how Ilya and Tavira is the lady in the episode, are trapped in and captured in this episode. And Classic Comics earlier in the chat said test audiences really liked the character of Kuryakin, and the show's premise was adjusted to make Vaughn and McCallum co-stars.
Another interesting point about Robert Vaughn is he actually did not resent when they boosted McCallum to a co-star level in the show. He actually was perfectly fine with it, from what I've read. He had no ill feelings toward David McCallum at all. They seem to have actually got along really well when they were filming the series together. So I thought that was kind of refreshing to have an actor that doesn't have that huge ego where he's got to be the center of attention all the time, right? So
That's so wonderful. That is really good to hear that they were good friends and that they had a professional relationship that wasn't built on jealousy or animosity towards the success of one another. It sounds like they were very supportive of each other's careers, and that's really sweet.
yeah, I
They're
really
adorable.
when I read that, I was like, wow, that's really great. And it shows, when you watch the episodes, right? Because
Mhm.
Napoleon and Ilya make a great team. Like they're always working together, and they have each one of them has their own talents, and they work well together as a team. And I'm guessing the actors, fed off each other, because sometimes I know some of the scenes they would maybe ad lib a bit of dialogue once in a while, right? Go outside what the writers had actually put in the script, and often the producers would just leave it in because the dialogue, their interaction was so good. The producers said, well, geez, let's keep that because that works, right? So because
Mhm.
often, I mean,
Oh, that happened? That is pretty neat.
I read somewhere that it
Well,
did
because that
occasionally
makes
happen.
sense if
Yeah.
they became best friends in that way, that they would form that ability to play with each other in terms of being able to come up with dialogue like that. That is really neat. That I didn't know that some of the dialogue was improvisational. Thank you.
I remember reading somewhere some of it was. I mean, maybe not a lot, but occasionally they would come up with a line off the top of their head, and it would just work so well in the scene that producers would just say, "Okay, let's go with that." Um, but I mean, often the dialogue that the writers provide is really great. I mean, there's a lot of witty banter between Solo and Kuryakin. Some really great stuff. Like especially what I love is when Ilya will take a dig at Napoleon, some sarcastic comment, and it always makes me laugh. It's just really good stuff.
I agree. And I want to say hello to Jamalama.
Oh,
Great to see
hello,
you today.
Jamalama.
And also Jay Goodwin.
Hello, Jay.
Hmm. And so, of course, Ilya and Tavira are trapped and they're forced to listen to this machine. So they're stuck in this particular room because there's a deadly device here. Well, I guess not dead. Well, it can, if anything, if it's not deadly, it's going to blow your ears out
Well,
because
actually,
it uses a high frequency, and it says it uses a high enough frequency to burst your eardrums. What do you,
Look at that. This still. Hold for a second, please, Joe.
okay.
There's the thrush
Hold
guy.
on.
He's got the thrush rifle again, which I don't think we see a lot in season two. I mean, we saw a lot of those in season one, right? The thrush rifles with the scope, with like the
Mhm.
night vision scopes, and I always thought that was a very cool looking weapon, and was really glad to see it pop up again in this episode.
Yeah, that was another website that had a dead link. Was there used to be a website with all of the Uncle weapons and stuff, and I wonder what happened to all of those old websites. But
I actually sent
thank
you
you for
one.
pointing that out.
I sent you one that I just found last night. that had a page on the Uncle gadgets, and I copy pasted it and direct
Okay,
messaged you.
maybe we'll look at that we get through this episode. We're halfway through it.
Yeah,
Once we get to the
it had
end
a
here,
decent
we'll bring those
look at
up.
all the Uncle gadgets, right?
Oh yeah, no, that'll be great. That's perfect for when this episode's over. I'll bring that
Yeah.
website up so we can take a look at that stuff because
Oh,
that is some good things.
there's a lot of for a show that's you know basically even older than Star Trek, when it started. There's still a huge fan base and still a lot of interest in this great show. There really is.
Hmm,
Quality
definitely.
stands the test of time.
Snortopoopas Cuber says Sam Rolfe said he didn't want the characters to be muscle-bound hulks, so you get Napoleon Solo and Illya Kuryakin, who are both more or less average height and size. Yeah, that's why I really like them. And hello to Dalek451. Just in case you forgot, it's my birthday on Sunday. Woohoo! Yay!
Ooh,
Happy birthday week, Dalek!
happy
And
birthday, Dalek.
if you want to fully celebrate Dalek 451's birthday, make sure you head over to King Dolphin TV tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central and for his Just Cuz. So King Dolphin will have Just Cuz and it'll be all about Dalek 451's birthday. Happy almost birthday, Dalek. I'll tell you again, not tomorrow, Saturday. Yeah, yes, tomorrow, Saturday. Excuse me.
I just want to mention the acting in this
But
scene.
your birthday's not tomorrow. But your birthday party is tomorrow.
If you want to
Okay,
just
go ahead.
go back a
Sure,
few
sure,
clips
sure.
there.
Sure, yeah, because they have to pretend to be under distress here
Yeah,
from the
actually go back even a little bit before this when she's starting to feel the pain.
all
It's
right.
very, very interesting because, I find the actress, she's kind of overacting the pain scene. Like,
Like
look at
this.
that. I mean, that's a little bit over the top, don't you think?
I don't know. I've never been tortured
No,
by
but
my
I think,
eardrums before.
but when I watch David's acting as Ilya in pain, it's much to my eyes at least, it's much more believable and convincing. It was more subtle, I guess. Let's put it that way.
Mhm. Well, sure. Let's see what Ilya's doing then. Let's compare for you. And hello to Jim's Landscape. Hey, how you doing? Great to see you guys.
Hey, Jen's landscape. That's cool. That was a cool effect. I'm not sure how they pulled that one off, actually.
Yeah. Well, I guess those glasses are gone for good, which according I guess that's a good thing for some people.
Well, I think when they shattered, did McCallum not have his head down so we couldn't actually see the glass lenses? And it's almost like I'm wondering if they somehow switched two pairs of glasses, like one not broken and the other, but there didn't seem to be any edit or anything. So I am a bit puzzled by how they achieved that practical effect, actually.
Oh, yeah, me too. I don't know. That is a good question. How did they
But it
do
was
it?
cool.
Yeah, it is. It does look great. Edge of Time says, "Greetings from the Edge of Time."
Hello, Edge.
Greetings. Snortopoopa says maybe Ilya was showing her his special uncle gun. Oh, when she made that face. Could be. Earlier in the chat, Snortopoopa said Robert Vaughn even jokes in an interview that he got fan mail from old ladies while David McCallum got all the fan mail from the young ones. All the old ladies and Scotty R37, who isn't here, but he says he might show up later, and he prefers Robert Vaughn.
I like them both, but I must say at heart, I think I'm more of an Ilya fan. There's just
Mhm.
something about Ilya Kuryakin. I guess I relate to him more as a person because I guess I'm more like Ilya than I am, Napoleon for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Exactly. And earlier in the chat, Don Ranger Power said, I only did one music mock-up recreation of an EB piece, that of National Geographic Fanfare. So if you want to check that out, it's at https://on.soundcloud.com/8yhjua. And Snorapoopas Cuber says it was bold for an excuse me, for an for an American TV show to have a major Russian character in the middle of the Cold War. Yeah, you're not kidding. I think the book says something about that. Thank
Well,
you.
just think. I mean,
I'll get to
the
that.
Cuban
I'll get to
Missile
that
Crisis.
book eventually. Go
I
ahead.
mean, Kennedy had to, basically deal with the Cuban Missile Crisis a couple of years before Uncle started, where we were getting close to World War III, right? Because the Russians were sending armaments to Cuba, and the U.S. was not going to go for that, having missile bases, not too many miles off their coast. And basically, Kennedy, I guess, gave them the ultimatum. It's like, get those weapons off, get them out of Cuba now, get them back to Russia where they belong. We're not going to accept this. And, you know, you can read about the Cuban Missile Crisis, but I think it's probably the closest the world ever actually came to an actual nuclear war. And it was
Mhm.
pretty scary. I mean, I was only a very little kid then, so I don't personally remember it. But I remember growing up and people were still talking about it. So, yeah. And so to
Yes.
have
Yes, I have read a bit about that. Thank
well, the
you.
thing is to have, as the comment said, to have a major character be a Russian and be a heroic character as a Russian
Mhm.
was very, very. It was very gutsy to put that on TV in 1964.
Well,
Like,
yeah, it's really great when the 60s television would do things like that, like Star Trek with Chekhov, and I'm sure there were other examples during this time
well, what I like about
of
60s TV mostly, Jill, is it was so brave. Like it was fearless. They
yes.
were still basically, because the 50s shows, when you look at them, are pretty primitive by comparison, right? So the 60s was actually the first full decade when television was actually, finding its
And
stride, so to speak. And they were basically inventing the medium as they went along throughout the 60s. And it kind of shows. It's because everything's very creative, everything's very fresh, new, gutsy, brave. There's no fear, really no fear. They're really, in full stride in 60s TV, which is one reason I love it so much.
and it's very predictive because, of course, we did end up working with the Russians and being friends with them for a while.
For a little while.
Right. Working with them on the International Space Station was one of the greatest things to see, and I
That
really
was
hope it
cool.
goes back to that
Yeah, I wish.
someday soon. I'm not really gonna get into the politics of today, but
No, let's avoid politics. I generally try to.
it was I think the world's better off when we're not
We're here to
being
escape from politics in the real world.
exactly. And that's what this show did. That's what this show did. It escaped.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
I like how Ilya's like, karate chops or punches this guy and knocks him out and takes his badge. It's like, wow, I bet that guy's not going to be a fan of Ilya anymore.
Yeah. Oh, and we missed the scene where Napoleon was fighting off invisible bees, but we did see it. You guys saw it.
This was cool. Ilya
Okay.
actually,
Was Go ahead.
Ilya was going to let him walk through that force field, wasn't he?
Um
Because he
yeah,
didn't. He
that would
didn't
have been
warn him.
help that would have helped him like
He
a whole
didn't. He
lot.
didn't warn him. He didn't
This is
warn him at
actually the
all.
part. Okay, you got to explain this to me. Why does Ilya give Mr. Mozart like Mr. Mozart says, "Spare me the grand tour." Why is he showing him around the headquarters, showing him exactly how he can kill everyone, showing him the layout of everything? It,
Because he wants to
it,
save the lady that's being held hostage. I'm guessing.
how does that do that? How does this do that?
Well, because
I must have
Mozart
missed it.
Mozart told him, if you don't take me into Uncle headquarters, the young lady that I was
Oh,
she was being tortured with you
okay.
will
He was
die.
threatened. His the life was threatened for that
Yeah, the
reason.
blonde would
Okay.
be killed, basically.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Because it seemed kinda stupid, but okay, I missed that part, thank you.
Well, it does kind of bother me that Uncle Headquarters could be accessed so easy. Well,
Hmm.
the thing is, though, it's not really being accessed easily because Waverly and everybody is watching it all on their TV screens, right? On their video screens. So they're aware that Uncle's been compromised. They're fully aware. But there's a scene coming up that actually does really bug me.
Hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. And so I'd like to welcome to the panel Scotty R37. Hello.
No, Scotty.
Hello?
Hey.
Oh, you can hear me. Great.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome to the panel. We're here talking about David McCallum. I'm learning how to pronounce David McCallum.
Ilya Kuryakin.
Illya Kuryakin. And I knew how to
Kuryakin.
pronounce that because I've been...
See, I didn't know that one.
See, I know that one because I've been watching this show for this whole year, but I've just met David McCallum, and so I am learning from PvP a bit about him that I didn't know before because he knows him a bit more than I do. A lot
90
more,
years. Really. What a run. Hey, PvP.
Hey, Scotty. How you doing?
I am well. I just finished watching the episode. That's why I'm late. I didn't want to show up and not know what the hell was going on.
I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed you watched it.
Yeah, well, no, I've got the box set. Like I've got
that's right.
It's so it's really cool.
You are a fan too, aren't you, Scotty? That's right.
I am. I really like the 1960s. I was watching the whole thing and I was like, you know what? I could have done well in the 60s.
Well, yeah, it was a great time to be a kid, I'll tell you, because there were so many cool shows on. Anyway, if you want to go back for a second, Jill, there was the air duct thing where Illya was trying to get the B suitcase sucked up, in the air vent to get it away out of his clutches.
Is this the slide you wanted?
Yeah, and just go forward from here.
Okay.
Because then the briefcase, it almost gets sucked up in that big air vent thingy, but of course it doesn't. And so our bad guy still got his case full of killer bees, unfortunately.
Right, and this is what he uses as leverage to escape.
Yeah, but you know what gets me? There's a scene here, I think, coming up where there's like a bunch of Uncle agents with guns pointed right at him. It's coming up pretty soon, I think.
And I wanted to say sorry, everybody. I got a phone call, was distracted. So hello, Scotty. Hello, everybody in the chat.
Oh, hey, welcome back, PvP. I mean, pop culture. Sorry. Welcome back. I was wondering what was going on. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, it's always the time of day where I'm interacting with doctors and
that's
trying to see
important.
No, we understand.
Yeah, and some good news is housing options.
Oh, good.
Hooray! Yeah, that would be great. You need full access to a kitchen.
Full access to a kitchen and not climbing stairs. So
that would be
exactly
helpful.
What I'm checking into.
That's so good to hear.
Now see all the Uncle agents here. They're fully armed. I think they even got rifles or something. And they could have just put look at this. They could just put a bullet right through his head, right? And just end it right there. But of course they don't. Because they're good guys, and I guess they can't do that, right? Even though Napoleon and Illya have shot many thrush guys in the field many times.
Yeah, well, what about a tranquilizer dart or something? Don't they have
actually, the Uncle guns,
gadgets and things?
I remember, I think in season 1 it was mentioned that at least some of the Uncle guns did have a tranquilizer option, right? So, yeah, why didn't they? But of course, we need the episode to continue, so.
We do need the episode to continue.
So that's why it happened, I guess.
We need the episode to continue so Mr. Mozart can knock out Illya and kidnap Tavia and take her to the roof of a building for our big action sequence. And that's going to happen soon. But in the meantime,
Who's the guy who plays Mr. Mozart? I recognized him from something.
Pop culture said his name earlier in the stream, and I can't remember now.
Leo G. Carroll.
What do I recognize him from?
No, Leo G. Carroll is Mr. Waverly.
I'm sorry, who are you asking about?
Mr. Mozart, the bad guy.
John MacGyver, the guy who looks like an owl?
I feel like I've seen him play.
Yeah, John MacGyver, that's the guy.
He was an
I seen him
English
play an evil
professor, by
German.
the way. John MacGyver was an English professor, very nice man, but he would always correct people on set if they weren't pronouncing the English language correctly.
Oh God.
I don't mind that. I don't mind being corrected.
As if as like McCallum, Jill.
Exactly, like McCallum. Hey, I learned, right?
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to be helpful.
Yeah, you guys are very helpful. Jim's Landscape says, "Hail, Scotty. Hey, are we friends on X? Like to send you some links when I go live."
I was actually just looking, and I don't know if we are. But I'm at ScottyR37 on X, so hit me up. And that would be great. That would be fantastic. Hey, I know this guy. He's an Organian.
He is. He's the
Yes, he is.
Organian from Errand of Mercy.
He was the head Organian, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. He was also in Twilight Zone episode with Scotty, where they had a transporter before the Star Trek episode.
Wow. Which episode was that? I love the Twilight Zone, but I might have missed
Well, it was where that man crashed his car in that small town, and they had a lot of advanced technology. And this guy ran the city. He was like the head of the city council. And Scotty's daughter pointed a device that made him disappear, and they just brought him back. It was a transporter, but it was a small town with advanced technology. They were aliens.
Actually, I remember
that. They told the man they were not going to let him leave. Yeah.
Cool. I think I saw that on one of Bird's.
It's where his car crashed into like an invisible barrier,
and
he couldn't figure out what made it stop.
That's
right,
a good
they wouldn't let
episode.
him leave.
We must get my bees. They're very important to me, Mr. Solo.
Yeah, he wants his bees. He wants his bees back. But it's going to be a problem. The AI show says, if you want to have a good time, analyze the Man from U.N.C.L.E. reunion TV movie. I saw it years ago and absolutely loved it.
Wow.
Oh, is that the one where they put bits of the episode and slice it all together?
No. Those were
a different one?
There was like, I think 4 or 5 Uncle movies during the show's run. There were re-edited episodes released in movie theaters. And I think they were especially popular over in the European market. But I think what he was talking about is they did a TV movie called The 15 Years Later Affair, which basically was 15 years later, I guess, from when the series ended. So I guess it would have been, around 1980, something like that. And it got both of the stars back, McCallum, David McCallum and Robert Vaughn, and they still look pretty great, actually. And I guess it was an attempt to reboot the show, which sadly, I guess the movie at the time didn't get high enough ratings, so it never happened. But it's actually a very good TV movie. I enjoyed it a lot too, actually, because there's a lot of cool stuff in it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but that's definitely something worth checking out.
That's
very
great.
Good.
So it actually had its own plot and everything.
That's cool. And it had what made it great too is it had guest appearances from some other spies from other shows, from movies and stuff. So, I mean, I don't remember the details because I haven't seen it in a couple of decades, but it was a lot of fun. It was very, very much a worthwhile watch for sure.
Good to know. Oh, right. I'm going to chuck a chair at you. It doesn't really work out too well, but that was a good try.
No.
Sort of Poopus Cuber says the network wanted less violence, so they came up with the idea of tranquilizer darts for the Uncle guns, but they were never consistent about it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I agree.
The AI show says, considering the language and syntax I have heard on TV shows in the past, Don McGyver must have been busy correcting scripts of shows he guested on.
Actually,
yes.
I think
John John, but yes.
I actually think the dialogue is much more well written back then than most of this garbage on TV these days.
Well, back then they were considering people as literate, which they don't now. Now they have to talk down.
Well, the thing is too, Pop, the people writing these shows were literate themselves, which makes a big difference, right? Unlike today.
Yeah, and it's good to do that because even if someone is watching this and they're not literate, they become literate from watching things that are written in a literate kind of way. It just makes sense to do that anyway.
Right.
Talking
Well,
down to
another
people
difference.
only keeps them at their
Right.
at the
Another
bottom
difference is
level.
right. And at the time when they wrote the shows, they wrote them for the entire family, all ages. It doesn't matter if they're 5 or 50. They wrote them for everybody. Now, if you guys will notice, everything's written for like teenagers and kids or target audiences because the writers don't have a scope. The writers they're not able to write for multi generations. So you get shows
no.
like Velma and everything else. They're just incapable of writing shows that are for everyone.
Well, for every Velma, you have an Expanse or For All Mankind. There is still quality television today.
There
Right,
That's a
is.
good point, Scotty.
The only thing,
Yeah, but look
Scotty,
at
I
those
think there's
shows.
much.
But those shows are struggling though. Those shows are not. They're not well received. There's not a big audience for those shows. It's like you either have, like the Beverly Hillbilly, the house, whatever the Housewives of Beverly Hills. You either have that or NCIS, which is like for the older audience. I don't see any shows out that are written for everybody that are actually well received.
Hello
Actually,
to
That's just an opinion.
Oh, hello.
yeah.
Wow. We
Hello
got
to
a new,
James.
a new person?
I'm sorry, Pop. I just wanted to say hello to James M. Lewis Sr.
Hello,
Just
guys.
putting
Hi,
a
James.
series of letters in the chat. I don't know if
think
these are
we've
some
had.
kind of spy codes.
I don't think
going
we've
on
had James
here.
in the chat before.
Hello, James. Good to see you.
Yeah, really great to see you. But now we finally made it to the roof where they're going to have their big showdown in terms of the big action for the scene for the episode with Ilya.
And I do have to admit, I'm in mourning this week. The writer's strike is over, and I'm really depressed about
Yeah,
that.
just
Yeah,
think now they'll be cranking out more garbage.
more garbage, and right now they're being rewarded for their terrible work. It's sad. It's a sad day
But
in movie in Hollywood history.
Anyway,
Well, they're making stuff, which is good. Some of it's going to be good. Some of it's going to be bad.
guys, can we focus on the episode if you don't mind?
No, I refuse.
Sorry, I'll mute.
We're just
No,
about
you don't have to mute.
You don't have to mute, but I'm just saying we're losing
Well-
track here.
well,
like something has
actually,
happened.
Well,
That's
like
why I was
asked-
afraid to come on. Yeah, because
No,
I haven't seen it in
don't
years.
worry about that.
No, it's all right. I can hang out in the chat.
What? No, please don't go.
No, you don't have to go.
PvP. That's why I asked you to let me know when to pause so you can
Yeah,
talk
go
about
ahead.
the parts
Okay.
you'd like.
Please pause because this is the climactic scene, and let Pop have
Mm-hmm.
his say.
No. You.
Oh no, I'll talk
let's go
after.
with
Go for it, guys. I don't need to talk. Go
we're
for it.
gonna have plenty of time after the episode.
Well, yeah,
to
I was
talk about
going to say
whatever.
we're going to be finishing the episode in a minute or two now, and I just wanted to get the episode over.
Well,
and then
okay.
we can
What
all
happened here
yeah.
is that Ilya and Napoleon head for the roof. There's the gunfight that you've been seeing. Everybody's been watching it as we've been talking and enjoying ourselves, so we don't really have to worry too much about that. And so the suitcase was dropped. All the bees went free. And don't worry about the bees because the bees only want to kill the bad guys. So these bees were actually good all along. The bees that Dr. Swan made.
Well, actually, we have the scene where is it Ilya that shoots the case of honey?
Oh, he does. Okay, there you go.
That's what saves
The only
day,
thing that
because the bees go to the honey and they don't attack any of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, it's coming up here.
Oh, it is. Okay, great. Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. I remember that. I actually got a pretty good shot of that.
I thought it was awesome that once again Ilya is the center of the episode. He's the hero here. Like he saves the day
after many tribulations.
And Tavina, or what her name is, Tavia. Tavia notices this.
With the helicopter waiting and Dr. or Mr. What's his name? Mozart gets killed by the bees that he was wielding so maliciously.
It got paused. There, we got 5 more minutes on the slides.
My bees. My bees.
And then they're loose.
Yeah, where are the bees?
Interesting camera work, because obviously you can't corral bees. It'll probably be harder than corralling cats.
Well, the bees were microscopic size. That's why we don't see
Right.
them, because it saved on the budget.
Well, and the camera work actually conveys the
Oh, it
bees,
does.
which I thought
And
was
the actors,
it's yeah.
the
they sell it.
actors convey it too, right? So
Totes. No, I think the
Yeah,
production and direction of the episode is really kind of stylish and cool. I love this.
I think it's a real good episode. And there's Illya having the smarts to go, I know what I'll do. I'll shoot the honey, and the bees will go be attracted by that, and they'll leave us all alone. And it works, of course. And there's all the bees
yes,
swarming
because
all
he
over the
uses
honey.
his mind to solve issues.
Yes. Yeah, I really love this episode. I think this might be my favorite episode of season 2 that I've seen so far, actually. It's a real good one.
Like Will Robinson says on a recent episode of Lost in Space I saw, reigns over Brawn any day.
And Napoleon standing there like, huh? What? Something happened? Like, huh? What? I think I'll just leave.
It's like a tug of war of who gets the girl each episode.
But I love it. It's like, for once, Napoleon is like the sidekick in this episode.
Yeah, so you picked a good one. Well done, PvP. I asked PvP to pick one. I asked him to pick an episode that I haven't seen yet because we've been watching this in the middle of season 2. That's why I didn't end up on the Shatner and Nimoy episode, because we've already seen it. Although that would have been a great idea. I didn't even think of it. But
Yeah,
for what we did, I think it was great.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I found this one. There's actually I picked out 4 from season 2 that we hadn't seen, that were all listed in the U.N.C.L.E episode guide that I often refer to as A level episodes. And I watched little bits of them. I didn't watch the whole thing. I got sort of scanned through them and watched scenes here and there. And this was the only one of the 4 that stood out as a Illya Kuryakin episode. So I just thought, this is actually really good. I'm going to go with this one. And yeah, I'm glad I did, because this is really, I didn't remember this one before watching it yesterday, but this is probably one of my favorite episodes in the series. Like, it's really good. And I love this ending. I love this ending. For once, Illya gets the girl, and she's like a lifetime course. And it's like, okay, that could have a couple of meanings, but okay.
Yeah, Solo got tickets just for one lesson, but he could bring a friend. He can bring his own lady from the casino.
Yeah, Illya gets some romance at the end of the episode. I just love that ending.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Anyway,
and then we get the credits.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I'm glad I picked that one. I got lucky.
Me too.
It's pretty funny. Like,
it was hilarious. I pointed out
he goes all in
earlier. Yeah, I pointed out to Jill earlier that I just thought that guy had a really bad day. Like, it was funny.
Yeah, he did.
It was very funny.
Oh, and Dalek451 asked if he could be on the panel, and I sent him a link, so he is welcome to join us whenever he so chooses.
Would be good.
Yeah, that'll be pretty good. And I'd like to go through everything I missed in the chat. I got a bunch of good, really cool chats here. Herc 130 says stunt bees ain't cheap since they went on strike. That's cute.
I never knew bees had a union card.
Well, they all have to bow to the queen, so.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. The AI show says, if you're writing for a TV show, you aren't writing for yourself. Same with movies. You're writing to sell work. Same with some other professional writers. Yeah, so if you create your own story for a TV show, you've got to cater it to that show and make sure you understand the characters and the lore of whatever you're scripting for.
That seems to be the problem in Hollywood, though. They write for themselves and they don't understand the characters. And a lot of times it's like disdain for the characters.
Well, it's like what's happened to Star Trek, right, Pop?
Precisely.
It's disgraceful.
Star Trek, She-Hulk, Velma, I can go on and on.
I like She-Hulk.
Star Wars. I know, but I'm talking about She-Hulk. I know She-Hulk. The show has an audience, but anybody who knows the comic knows that it's total disdain for the comic is the problem.
No, that's not true, though. That's not true. Like, that was one of the things that I found. And again, this is veering away from Uncle. We
Right.
can have it. We can learn all about it next week on our new show, She-Hulk.
Well, we can agree to disagree.
Agreed.
Hi,
Sure
Dalek.
thing. And hello to Dalek451. Thank you for joining the panel today.
Hello,
How are
Dalek. Long
you?
time no talk.
Hey, Dalek.
Yeah, I haven't
Hey,
seen Dalek in ages.
Hello, hi everybody. How you doing?
Hello.
Donnie says, I'm on X as well. Yeah, make sure you're following Donnie.
More phenomenal.
Mhm. Oh, and Snortopupus makes a quote from another movie. Not the
And if I had
bees.
been not the bees. If I had been prepared, I would have asked for a little Nicolas Cage. Well, and just speaking of the modern writing and adaptation of it, The Wicker Man, the remake. Oh, go check out the original. The original is 1,000% better.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to watch the remake. No thanks. I'll stick with the original with Christopher Lee. Thank you.
Oh, the
Yeah,
original.
for sure.
The original is a classic for sure. It's awesome.
Did you guys ever see the movie, the Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie, directed by Guy Ritchie?
Nope, and I don't really have much interest.
I watched part of it.
I really liked it. I thought it was fun. Obviously, it doesn't have the same.
I didn't hate it. I was distracted. I need to go back and give it a chance. So nothing. I don't have any bad things to say about it, and I like Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
I just need to go back and try it again.
Yeah, I might watch it someday, Scotty, but it wasn't at the top of my list, really.
That's
to be
actually
honest.
a really good review from Pop Culture. I want to see it.
It
now.
is. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that when you have these the movie remakes, of course they're not going to have the same magic and charisma as the originals, but it's a fun movie, and Henry Cavill does play Napoleon Solo quite well.
I heard it was.
I still got my scars.
Movie.
For me, I still got my scars for what they did to the Mission Impossible franchise. It's a disgrace.
Well, and that was also something that I think the guy who played Jim Phelps, he was upset with the first Mission Impossible because they made Phelps a bad guy. Spoilers.
Well, yeah, and they got rid of the whole team, and they said, we don't need a team. We have Tom Cruise. So,
Yeah.
no, it's garbage. And that's the nicest way I could say it without swearing.
The whole point of the Mission Impossible TV series was they were a team. And
Right, a team of talented spies where everybody had their unique skills. But they said, oh, no, we have Tom Cruise. We don't need anybody else. And it's like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing was, at the beginning of every episode of the TV show, you'd have, what was it, Phelps was the leader, I guess, if I'm remembering his name.
Yeah, Jim.
Yeah, he
right,
would.
Peter Graves. Peter Graves.
That's him.
He'd go through the file folders. He'd go through, the check out every individual skill set, and he'd pick the ones that would work for that particular mission, right?
Right, but now you got Tom Cruise. He can do everything. He's the secret to everything. And it's like, oh, puke.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy that step.
No. Jill, if you saw the original show, you would see the difference. It's like,
well, I want to because Leonard Nimoy's in it.
Right, but imagine like watching Star Trek TOS, and then they came out with a new show, and they say, we don't need a whole crew of people. All we need is one person on the ship that can do everything.
Well, they did that.
That's literally what they did.
Yeah,
in
it's called
Mission
Star Trek
Impossible.
Discovery.
And we don't discuss it in these parts. Actually, it's Friday. It's Filthy Friday.
Right, but with at least, and of course I'm not going to defend Discovery, but at least she's surrounded by a crew of people. With Mission Impossible, they literally get rid of everybody but Tom Cruise. And it's like, no thanks. His ego is just, oh my goodness. It's undescribable.
Well, again, it just doesn't
I don't know about that.
I think that it's the same sort of situation where the magic and the charisma of the original actors far eclipses what they've done with the stunt show. And while they're action movies, you could call them anything except Mission Impossible.
Correct. Yes, I totally 100% agree.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah.
The AI show says The Wicker Man was a specific British horror film rooted in English history, Druids, and pre-Anglican England.
Anglican.
It made no Anglican England. It made no sense to be remade.
Right.
Oh, those
But it's
crazy druids.
yeah. Well, and that's another one of those things where it's like the remake is just such like almost so bad it's good, although I don't know if I would go that far. It's so just weird and there's no reason to make it. But that's one of those movies that my dad, I showed him The Wicker Man for the first time like within the last year, and he was downright unsettled by it. He was like, I don't think I'll ever watch that again, but it was really good and unsettling.
Yeah,
I
Franco
agree.
Walker says
Yeah.
he's only seen the original one time.
Yeah, the original is it's got some very disturbing stuff in it, but that's one reason it is so good, Scotty. It's because it pulls no punches for a film of that era, right? It's a tough watch, but it's a good film.
Well, what else was great about it was anybody knows Christopher Lee, the fantastic Christopher Lee. He was out of his. It was completely different for him. That's why he took the role, because it was like nothing he'd ever done before, and it was great to see him do something different for a change.
Well, that's what I love about these older actors. They weren't afraid to take on any role to stretch their abilities, right? Which is
Well,
why
that's just it. They had abilities to stretch, right? They were very versatile. Unlike now, they're all one note. They all play the same character in everything they do.
they play themselves basically.
Yes, they play themselves, right? I couldn't name a. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. I couldn't name a single actor or actress. I'm sorry if that sounds sexist, but I can't think of anybody
Well, you
else that
said
has
both,
range
so,
anymore.
no.
Well, I know, but now they want everybody to be called actors, and that just doesn't. It's like putting in a square peg in a round hole.
Oh, you're saying that the word actress is supposed to be sexist these days?
Yes,
I
they
didn't
don't.
pick up on that.
Well,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
I know it's terrible,
Oh,
but they do. I know.
But Jama Lama says, was that a Star Trek communicator? Yeah, that was Pop Culture Curator's phone. We love
Sorry about that.
any kind of Star Trek sounds. So
Yeah.
Well, that's
Dr.
it's
McCoy
just
left it
true,
in
though,
Bella's
that
office.
It does seem like the word actress has become a dirty word, like in the last.
It
10 or
is.
15
I don't
Right?
know
You're
why.
not allowed to
That's
say
weird.
that anymore.
Which
Well,
makes
because
no
the far
sense
left.
at all.
No, they're
It's like
fanatics.
it makes no sense at all. It's like referring to a woman not as Mrs. or Miss, but as like
I
Mister. It
know.
makes no sense, right?
I know.
Well,
And I'm going to call it actress. I don't care what people say. I'll call it actress.
Well,
Well,
I
I
think
do
In Star
too.
Trek, they called
don't
Sav.
worry about it. But yeah, you don't have to qualify it as being sexist because it's not.
Yeah, I don't think it's sexist at all, really.
It isn't.
It just
Snorta
denotes
Poopus Cuber
it,
says
it
that's
denotes a
funny.
gender. That's
They
all
look
it
Jewish.
does.
She
I
doesn't
know, but
look
it's like
Jewish to me.
now right now it's offensive to call people ma'am, and it's like that's terrible.
That doesn't happen in Texas. We still say yes sir and yes ma'am, and
I'm going to
opening
continue
doors
saying
for
it.
each other. Yeah,
Right.
keep saying it. Like if someone has a specific problem, they're an individual who needs something special.
Psychiatric help.
Well, no, that's I'm not gonna say that. If somebody comes to me genuinely and they say, and I know them and I'm talking to them and I'm being friends with them and they specifically want me to call them something, I will. But if they're yelling at me or being mean to me about it, then it's not gonna go over as well. The AI show says The Wicker Man was a specific British horror film rooted. Oh yeah, I read that one.
You read that one.
Snorta Poopus, we're paying Tom Cruise a gazillion bucks. We can't afford a team.
That's probably one reason, yeah.
Well, but as
Okay,
the
there you
series goes on, you still get Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames coming back. There are people who still reappear. There is somewhat of a team, but I do agree that it is primarily circling Tom Cruise and his desire to hang off the side of a plane.
Well, it's like hanging the Star Trek name on the current stuff being made. It's got as much to do with real Star Trek as Mission Impossible films have to do with the Mission Impossible TV show. It's like very little
Right.
to do with it.
Right. They're in name only is what it
In name only.
Right.
Yeah.
IP. It's an IP. That's it.
Yeah, they're
Well,
taking they're taking a beloved name and hanging it on stuff that is not up to the same level of quality.
Well, and Snorta Poopus says that the new Uncle movie was not a good adaptation. I thought it's one of those people keep talking about where can you go with the James Bond franchise, and people want to see the new James Bond be set during the 60s. And I thought that that was one of the things that really made Uncle quite good was that it was set during the 60s, and I enjoyed it as a sort of a historical piece. It
Well, yeah,
kind of
but-
captured some of that.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I don't trust them to actually play something in the 60s or taking place in the 60s with actual 60s sensibilities. I doubt it. I just can't see woke going away anytime soon. But no, I hope I'm wrong.
I don't think the movie is woke at all. It's actually
No,
quite...
I'm saying if they make something new that's supposed to take place in the 60s, I can't see them being authentic to that. I just don't trust them anymore.
Fair enough. There's another remake.
Unless they're an independent studio or somebody who's allowed to think freely and do their own
That's
thing and
possible,
actually
yeah.
tell a story. And I think that exists.
Are there still independent studios? I wasn't aware of that.
Oh yeah, like A24, and there are
okay.
studios that still maintain, quality.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once was one of my favorite movies of last year, so I totally agree.
Nice. I still have not yet seen that.
I highly recommend it. It's a breath of fresh air. It's a good multiverse movie. I'll put it that way.
Wow.
And I was getting to the point where who's the lady, the Asian lady who was going to play? She was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, I was getting to the point where I didn't like her anymore because what she was doing with Star Trek. I used to be a big fan of hers. And then after her being on Discovery, I was getting to where I didn't want to see her ever again. But then she did a fantastic job in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it also had the wonderful James Hong.
Yeah, because she is a great actress.
She is, but
but
it was a
in Star Trek.
That was well beneath her. I can't believe she was doing that. She's much more talented than that. So
I hope she knows better
will not
than
be
to
sure.
do this Section 31 crap. I never
She
want to.
just got an Academy Award for that movie. So why? Yeah, I hope she doesn't sink to Star Trek again.
Me too. But I do have to say hello to Scottish.
Hello, Scottish, I guess you can call
Yeah,
it Scottish.
Scottish Celts.
Yeah, I don't want to call him Scotty and get everybody confused, so I'll call him Scottish.
Right? Arc 130 says if the whole James Bond franchise was refilmed in Legos.
Legos.
Oh my God! I can imagine the effort that would take.
To see that.
Anyway, I'll be back in a minute, guys. Just gotta take a quick break here.
And I'm gonna go all the way back up to like an hour ago. And Donnie said, Illya, not to be confused with the late Paris Kambata's character in Star Trek The Motion Picture.
Persis Kambata. She's the one that played Lieutenant Ilya.
Oh, Ilya. Oh, okay. I get the joke now.
Hottest bald woman ever to walk the earth.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. I love her. And hello to Dalek451. That's a good one. Poopa said an hour ago the second season was in color and started to do more tongue-in-cheek episodes. By the third season, the show had almost become a spy series. Oh,
well, you could take Batman and get smart for that.
Well, you left and you came back, and it was just an instinct, okay? But okay. So at this point, I do need to switch to. Unfortunately, I couldn't find much production information about this particular episode, but I did find a book that talked about David McCallum, and it's called "The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Book Behind the Scenes Story of a Television Classic." So every now and then, I mean, we'll still have conversations and stuff, but I'll be reading a bit from this, or I'll be skipping through it. I'm maybe not reading it verbatim. But David McCallum was born on September 19th, 1933 in Glasgow, Scotland. And he wasn't born into a theatrical family like Vaughn, but a musical one. His dad, David McCallum Sr., was a concert violinist and played for the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, the London Philharmonic Orchestra, and other orchestras, all the orchestras. His mother, Dorothy Dorman, would later become a concert cellist for the London Philharmonic Orchestra. Oh wow, okay, so this is about their parents, and so yes, they're musical, very musical. Man, I wonder what kind of music David McCallum knows how to make. being born to parents like that. And they went to London at the beginning of World War II, and wow, they obviously escaped dying because they had a child, and from German bombs, they escaped them. Oh, and okay, there's his music. David McCallum mastered the oboe and the French horn as well, and his parents enrolled him in the Royal Academy of Music. But when he was 10, he switched to radio. He became involved in children's radio programs, and in 1946 he had his first professional appearance on a BBC radio repertory company. And when he was 14, he took work at a Glasgow theater as an electrician's helper. Okay, and then he went to the University College School in Hampstead, London, and eventually enrolled in 1949 in the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London. And in 1950, he made his movie debut when he was 17 in Prelude to Fame. But like Robert Bond, his movie career was interrupted by military service. For 10 months, David McCallum served as a lieutenant in the Royal West African Frontier Force in Ghana. And he was discharged in 1953, but then he went back to the English stage, and where he was in a bunch of plays. And J. Arthur Rank Talent Organization found him. And so he started showing up in movies. Dangerous Years. In 1957, he was in a major role in The Secret Place. And then in 1956, he changed his hairstyle to the blonde haircut that we see in Man from U.N.C.L.E. So then he starred in Robbery Under the Arms with Jill Dorothy, Ireland. Oh, that's where he met his wife.
Hey, Jill, are you reading? Is this from a book or something? Like, where are you getting all this? This is really great.
Yeah, I am. I did. I introduced the book. I told you
I missed
that
it. I was away. I was away
okay.
for a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm reading from a book called The Man from U.N.C.L.E. book, behind the scenes story of a television classic. I forget.
Wow, there's an actual book.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you put a link to that in? If there's a link to take a peek at the book online?
Yeah, when I get back to the chat, I'll do that.
Yeah, if you want to put it in the private chat, even that.
Yeah,
would be great.
when I get there, yes.
Yeah.
In about, I don't know, I can't tell. When
Yeah, you're covering it very well though, because I looked up Wikipedia and it has a lot of the information that seems pretty similar to what you're reading. So please continue.
Oh yeah, and if you have anything to add, you absolutely can.
Oh, I just wanted to add,
Sure.
he did a movie I really liked in 1958 called A Night to Remember, which was about the sinking of the Titanic.
It sank?
Yeah, I got news for you, Scotty.
Oh wow.
I don't know if I don't think he had a very major role, but he was definitely in the film. I do remember him being in the film, and it was actually I think it's probably, to my mind, it's probably the best film about the Titanic sinking, because there's more modern versions that I think are a little more melodramatic, shall I say?
Well, and again, speaking of my
right, because James Cameron, it was more about spectacle for him.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Whereas I think the Night to Remember is more about the actual historical events. So I really liked it.
My parents actually just got back from England, and they stopped off at Liverpool and picked up some Titanic swag. My dad's a big fan of A Night to Remember, and says it's impressive just on how historically accurate it was.
It's a good film. It really is definitely worth at least one watch. Everybody should watch it at least one time during their life, for sure.
For sure.
Then it'll go on my list. Then that's something about me. If you want to put some movies on my list, I am always up for that kind of thing.
So that's what.
Not promising when I'll watch it, but
that's like
it'll be there.
That's like add to the list like 285,304 now.
And I do hear Dalek. Dalek, did you have something to add?
Scotty, did I hear you say your parents were just came back from here and from this part of England, specifically from Liverpool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they had a blast. They had a good time.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, you realize that's Liverpool. That's very close to where I live.
Well, had I known, I would have asked them to pay a visit.
Yeah, you could have had tea with Scotty R37's parents. But other movies that David McCallum was in were also Billy Budd and Freud.
Hey,
Well, I'm sure you brought up The Great Escape as well.
Hey, Jill.
Not yet. No. Yes, Alec?
I know you're you're obviously talking about paying tribute to that guy David McCallum, but which I didn't really know much about him except he was in except he was in NCIS. That's all I really knew about him.
Ducky.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the most modern way to remember him is
millions of
that
younger
show.
people will know him from. He was on 20 seasons of NCIS, believe it or not, because that show's been running forever, it seems. And
my dad watches that show all the time.
I have watched it for about the first 8 years because I was really into it for a while. It is a damn good show, definitely written for intelligent adults. It was very good, but it's like after about 8 seasons, I started to get burnout because you can only watch like a police procedural type of show so many hundreds of times before it starts to feel a little bit repetitious, and after a while, I just kind of dropped out, to be honest.
I know exactly what you mean. I just don't get the appeal of those shows because every episode is exactly the same. Someone gets murdered. They have to do a big investigation about it at the end.
I think it was the characters actually, Dalek, that separated it, which was why it was such a big rate. It was a very popular show. I mean, that's why it's been on for 20 years, right? Because it pulls the rating audience in. So that's why the network keeps renewing it. I think it was the characters, and because we had some really good actors like David McCallum, who did play, Ducky, yeah.
Well, sure. I do know that Gorilla's Random Thoughts might be watching this, and that's who he knows David McCallum.
No, I don't. Also. No. Also, Jill, I don't know if you saw this we say this in the chat, but we've also lost another great actor this week.
Yes, I did notice. Yes, we did. Michael Gambon, who was the second. Who was the second man to play Dumbledore in the movies?
He was the second man to play Dumbledore in the movies after the very sudden death of Richard Harris.
Richard Harris was great too.
Who unfortunately died. Well, right almost immediately after finishing Chamber of Secrets. Mm-hmm. That was his last film.
Wow. Yeah, and so definitely I'm going to remember Michael Gambon. I haven't started to even process that one yet since it occurred yesterday. But the Harry Potter movies were not just the movies, the books were very important to me. And so I'll be collecting my thoughts about that.
I'm more of a Twilight fan myself.
Yeah, of course you are.
I know.
You just like teenagers staring into each other's eyes.
Longingly. Sparkly vampires are my jam.
I don't understand how we're friends.
Did
but
you
I did want to thank Scottish Celts for a super sticker. Hey, he gave me a little super sticker of something is covering up the super stickers. Let me get to the super sticker chat.
Jill's raking in the cash now.
Yeah,
99 pence.
99 pounds.
Put that into the retirement fund there, Jill.
Yeah,
99 pounds. That's like $200.
It's like $1 million for me. It's like all the Quatleys. And it's a little face that's sweating, and it has a little face on it too.
Hey Jill, did you finish McCallum's movie history here?
Movie history? Oh no! I just got distracted by super chat. I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm still getting used to that happening. Anyhow.
But he had a supporting role in The Great Escape. That's where I first discovered David McCallum. Really
Yeah, that was a
enjoyed him.
major hit. That was a huge film.
Huge.
That
And
was the one
what a
with Steve,
stacked cast.
Steve McQueen and
James Garner, James Coburn, Richard
yeah.
Attenborough. Amazing.
It was like a stellar cast of
Donald
superstars.
Pleasance. It was.
Even back then, yeah.
Absolutely a classic.
It was probably one of the big box office smashes when it came out that year too, right? So.
Well, it definitely cemented Steve McQueen's cool.
Oh yeah, I still remember him on that motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
So during the actors' strike in 1962, David McCallum moved to America. He appeared in The Greatest Story Ever Told, which is the biblical epic in which he played Judas.
Ooh.
And he recalls, when I look back, I was very surprised that I was chosen for the part. We decided to move lock, stock, and barrel to Los Angeles and take house. I did as much as I could to get some work. I was well known in England from television and theater films, but in the United States, nobody knew me. So I had to get some sort of film. And Dalek 451, what is... Oh, okay. He just changed his avatar. Okay. I was like, what happened there?
Well,
I thought he was sharing something at first.
It's not quite. Well, not quite chill.
Wait, you kind of are. What are you sharing with us? What is this?
It's just maybe this isn't the right stream for this.
Oh, are you playing a game? You can play a game if you want to.
I'm playing.
No,
yeah,
go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm playing a game. Yeah.
Go for it. I just was curious what was happening on my show. That's all.
It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. That's what I'm playing.
Okay. Yeah, as long as there's no sound, you're totally cool.
No. I don't think there's any. Showing it this way, I don't think there's any sound coming through. So you're good.
Sweet. Okay, here it is, Scotty. In 1963, he appeared in The Great Escape, where he met Charles Bronson.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Who would later become a good friend of the McCallums.
Well, thanks for stealing my wife there, friend.
Yeah, what a friend.
Yeah, really. Boy.
Oh, hey, the Scottish Celts sent another super sticker.
And it's increasing.
Salt.
Now it's
for
£1.49. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps up at
Very
this
cool.
rate, you'll be rich by the end of the stream, Jill.
I already am. I'm just so happy. Happy you guys want to hang out with me and talk about stuff.
Yeah, you guys are worth more than money to me in a way. You're so cool.
But I do appreciate the money too, though.
Well, yeah. It helps to pay the rent at the end of the month, that's for sure.
McCallum then moved into guest roles on TV, including The Outer Limits. Oh, yeah, this is some of the stuff that pop culture was already saying earlier.
Yeah, he did an Outer Limits episode called The Sixth Finger.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I actually don't know if I've ever seen that one. I've seen a lot of Outer Limits. I probably have, but I can't remember it now. It's been so long. But
I really need to explore Outer Limits intensely.
Outer Limits is interesting.
I love The Twilight Zone. I love any kind of short story kind of formatted science fiction on TV. So
there are some great episodes. My favorite episode of Outer Limits, Jill, is it's one called Demon with a Glass Hand.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Harlan Ellison, who wrote, of course, City on the Edge of Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite hours of TV ever. It's got Robert Culp, who was actually a co-star in another spy show back in the 60s called I Spy, and he's excellent in the episode, and it's a really good story. And was filmed in the Bradbury Building in Los Angeles, if you're familiar with that building. So the atmospherics in it are absolutely incredible. And yeah, it's a really good episode. Outer Limits had some great episodes. I found some of them were it was a mixed bag for me. Like some were fantastic, and other ones were just kind of so. But it's definitely a series worth checking out for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Well, of course. And then other shows he was on were Perry Mason, The Travels of Jamie Peters, and Profiles in Courage. And so he was trying to get as much exposure in America as he could. He said you needed to try and get together as much footage of film as possible so you could show people, he says. And then things were pretty rough. But one day, Charles Bronson said, "Why don't I take you around the studios?" And he took me to MGM, and we had lunch with a man named Don Medford. Medford mentioned the Illya role to McCallum during lunch. The only thing I remember, says McCallum, was that it was mentioned that he was Russian and that he had a box of jazz gramophone records under his bed. And so he didn't hesitate long in expressing his interest in the role. McCallum says, "I was pretty desperate at that point because actors, when they're out of work and they've moved from one country to another, are desperate. I remember I bounced one check in my life. In England, you don't bounce checks. They call you and tell you before they do it. The Bank of America bounced one of my checks, and it was such a horrific moment. At that point, I was very worried about what was going to happen to me." And so Medford liked McCallum and discussed him with Norman Felton. And they contacted McCallum's agent, Paul Kohner, and offered him the role of Illya Kuryakin. But Solo wasn't the only series interested in David McCallum's services. Oh, wow. When it rains, it pours, and McCallum suddenly found himself offered 3 series at the same time. The same day that I received the notification from Paul Kohner, he remembers there were 2 other series that had come up with. One was on Alexander the Great, and the other was a religious series based on Judas Iscariot. So I might be mispronouncing stuff, so bear with me on that. So the 3 came at the same time. My logic was that Alexander the Great was not the way to go since period pieces had never really gone well, and I couldn't see a series being played on Judas in the United States. So I thought, if I do this, Mr. Solo, I'll be able to get to film together. And after 3 or 4 episodes, if it runs for a year or something, and do 13 shows, I'd have a good reel of film to show people. And I'd be able to get back into playing character parts in pictures. So I accepted the role on the premise that I was going to get some film. Nothing more devastating than that.
I just want to interject quickly.
Sure.
David, to use a line from The Last Crusade, David chose wisely. Because I can't see an historical piece or something based on, Judas Iscariot, that's like what, a religious piece, I'm guessing.
That's what
I
it
think
sounds like.
those things would have had a very short shelf life, I'm guessing, as far as the series went. And he very much it's amazing. He went for lunch and it changed his life basically because he picked a role that, well, we're still talking about right now, right? So that says a lot.
Well, and it's funny that Alexander the Great show, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw that pilot, and it was with Bill Shatner and Adam West.
Really? Is that available online somewhere?
It's on YouTube, yeah.
Holy crud. So it's called Alexander the Great.
I think so.
Oh, I'll have to check that one out.
So, Sorapupus Cuber says in the chat, I already gave Jill a tip. Don't play in traffic. Thank you, Sorapupus. That is good advice. I will make sure to look both ways.
I actually almost got run over as a kid because I didn't look both ways and I was late for school and I ran across the road and the poor lady had to slam her brakes on and
Oh my God.
she missed me by like 3 feet. Yeah, it was probably one of the dumbest moments of my life, to be honest. But thank you, lady, if you're still out there, for not running me over.
I'm so glad you're here, PvP, to talk about the Man from Uncle. This is
I
that
am
is
too,
good.
Jill.
That your narrow escape from
I've had a few
terrifying fate.
The longer you live, I've had a few. I've had a few near-death experiences, but nothing
Wow.
critical, thank goodness.
Franco Walker says, here's a good tip. Don't drink out of an empty glass.
Very good tip. Counterproductive to do that, Franco.
Does sticker help the channel, Franco? Yeah, it does. Thank you so
I think
much.
all the attention helps, really. Every little bit of attention probably helps. Anyway,
I like it.
is there any more in the book there, Jill? Or
Oh, I'm switching for the chat for a little bit. I'm gonna go to the chat. I'm trying something new where I switch between the chat and my content.
And it's good to balance it out for sure.
That's what I'm trying to. And so yes, my new method of trying to have a show but also acknowledge the chat is frustrating. Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Hello. Gorilla's Random Thoughts is saying Jill is skipping my chat.
No.
Oh no. I'm not. It's just that I have so much chat that I've got to balance.
By the way,
like you say. So
someone asked if
but
YouTube
I definitely appreciate you.
YouTube does take a cut on any of the chats, by the way.
Oh yeah, YouTube takes a cut for sure. They absolutely do. But Gorilla, the squeaky wheel, gets the grease. Let's see where you have some chats for me. You say, I'm listening, but if you ask the X, I never listen. Well, there you go. You are listening. I do appreciate you listening today. And he also says, Snort, a better tip would be don't eat yellow snow. I have eaten snow before, but it wasn't yellow. We went all the way to the top of the mountain in New Mexico to get the freshest snow. And we put milk and sugar in it, and it makes like a kind of ice cream. Really, really yummy.
Like a snow cone?
Mm-hmm.
I've actually read somewhere, though, that eating snow is kind of a risky thing because you never know if it's contaminated with anything.
Oh.
Acid snow.
Well, yeah. But you know what? I'm so glad I did it because it was really good and I survived.
Oh, I did it too when I was young.
It was freshly fallen snow at the top of the mountain. We figured.
Yeah.
We were taking. Yeah, we made sure that it wasn't something that had time to get contaminated. It had just fallen.
Oh, well, then you're probably safe, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if a bird pooped on it or something, you probably wouldn't want to eat that. So,
of course not. No, you're absolutely right. No, but it was actively snowing, so I think we were safe. Well, we were safe. We survived, even if we weren't safe.
Well, you're talking to us now, so I guess you did survive, right, Jill?
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. Don't eat snow. Don't eat fallen snow. Even though I did it and had a lot of fun with it.
I used to do it when I was young too. Yeah.
Girl's Random Thought says, or don't piss into the wind. Wait, that's for the guys.
Are you sure? I think maybe it would be good advice for girls as well, actually, because they can still, get messy.
It's true.
You don't want that spray happening on you, that's for sure.
And Franco Walker says, I don't even know if Jill would get all the money if YouTube takes a cut. Yes, they do. 30%.
Yeah, they take like almost a third, yeah.
30%. Snorta Poopus Cuber says, I almost got run over in New Zealand doing the usual stupid American thing, looking the wrong way when crossing the road Sunday morning. Small town, one car on the road, and a bear. Yeah, Mahler says he gets 40% of YouTube, so Brown do. Oh, it is a 30% cut, but then sometimes you get even less because of the Apple store. I've been reading into it, so the Apple takes a cut too and YouTube passes the price along to me. Yay!
I suppose though they're entitled to take a cut since you're using their platform to do this, right? So I guess that's fair.
And Peter, writer Captain Infinity, is here. Hello. And also, wait a minute. Scotty R37 popped in and out, but he is now, his avatar is kind of nothing, like a nipple avatar.
He's back as a nipple.
Mm-hmm.
It seems kind of appropriate for Scotty, I gotta say, though, actually.
Pierced one, too.
Exactly. Anyway, is that sounds like a great book.
Yeah, it
Be nice,
is. It is a
nice
great
when
book.
you if you
I
could
am
post
still
it.
reading the
I'd
chat.
like to check it. Okay.
Oh, the private chat. Oh, okay. So Scotty R37 says he'll be back. But I'll let you
Internet.
know. I have a little 15-minute hour a little glass. It's not an hour glass, it's a 15-minute glass. And so I'm trying this thing where I focus on one thing for a while and then I focus back. So, but thank you for asking. Oh, and Daniel's Hot Topics is here. I don't think I said hello to you yet. He says, I never watched The Man from U.N.C.L.E. before.
It's a really good show, Dan. You should check it out. Especially
Yeah.
start with season 1 and work your way through in
Well, it's a
order.
lot of fun. At first, it was the Star Trek actors that attracted me to it, but then it's also spy-fi, so it's not like just about spies or mysteries. There's also some science fiction in it. Like in this episode, they genetically modified bees to make them into a weapon of mass destruction.
There's a lot of science fiction in The Man from Uncle, actually.
There is.
Not heavily in every episode, but there's enough of it to make it fun. I think it definitely adds a nice flavoring to the series.
Oh, for sure. No kidding.
And like Bond, you have lots of evil geniuses that are trying to destroy the world or destroy society or take over a country or whatever their evil deeds are up to. I mean that's always fun too.
Definitely. The AI show says McCallum said he had a good working relationship with co-star Robert Vaughn. However, Vaughn was always reading books and focused on politics and was reportedly not terribly interested in the series. Oh, really?
Well, I think one reason for that, Jill, is actually Robert Vaughn was working on a university degree at the time when he was actually filming the series. So I think he had to read a lot of books to study his courses he was taking because I can't remember what degree it was, but he did I think graduate eventually with some fairly major university degree. So he was actually double tasking, right? He was being a TV star and a university student at the same time. So it's like wow, I'm pretty impressed with that.
Wow, yeah, that is pretty cool. Doing school and acting at the same time. That can't be easy.
Exactly.
Jay Goodwin says, I grew up swimming in a lake where the first one to the life rafts had to wash the droppings off. Somehow I survived. And Gorilla says, PvP, I have been eating snow for 31 years, and look how I turned out.
That explains a lot, Gorilla. I'm just joking, man.
Of course. He meant
Uh,
it as a playful. I took that as a playful thing. And
yeah, well, yeah,
Snarpupus
yeah,
says,
that's true. That's Gorilla. Gorilla is always like that, yeah, for sure.
oh, yeah. And Gorilla reminds us that, I mean, Snarpupus Cuber reminds us that polar bears are camouflaged in the snow. Be careful eating snow. It might actually be a polar bear taking a nap.
Oh, I just pulled up Robert Vaughn's page on Wikipedia, Jill. I just want to interject. Vaughn earned a PhD in communications from the University of Southern
Oh,
California in 1970. His doctoral dissertation, The Influence of the House Committee on Un-American Activities on the American Theater, 1938-1958, was an appraisal of the effect the committee's activities had on American theater. Vaughn's original research included data from questionnaires, interviews he conducted with witnesses who had been labeled uncooperative by the House of Un-American Activities. And in 1972, he published his dissertation as a book titled Only Victims, A Study of Show Business Blacklisting. So that's pretty fascinating. So he was a pretty hard-working dude in those years.
wow, that's really cool. Thank you for telling us about that degree in communications. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, yeah, was a pretty I like well just like McCallum, they were both amazing guys when you look at their history, right?
Oh, yeah, sure enough. And Donnie is posting some links to some of his recent videos, probably about um, Power Rangers. Definitely go check out Donnie's YouTube channel. Let me get if he's going to be sharing. Yeah, if he's going to be sharing his link to his videos, I can also put a link to his channel. I have the links. Oops. This document is dirty. What? Okay, that was weird. I never saw that error message before. I might ignore it for now.
There's nothing worse than a weird message that pops up on something on your computer. I hate those.
And here we go. Don Ranger Power, subscribe. And the AI show says McCallum almost got typecast in Judas. Thank goodness Uncle came along for him.
Well, actually, that's one amazing thing is he played, Illya for 3.5 seasons because they got canceled halfway through season 4 because the ratings dropped. But he never really got typecast because he went on to do other shows after that. I think he went back to England and did a British series called Sapphire and Steel, which I think had a lot of time travel in it. And he was the co-star with Joanna Lumley, and she was actually in the 70s show The New Avengers with Patrick McNee playing John Steed again, which was cool. And he actually did a show, I think, for a short time. I don't think it had many episodes, but I think he did an American show called The Invisible Man, and he was the title character, the Invisible Man, right? So he did some really interesting stuff after Uncle, actually.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, definitely. And subscribe to Donnie. Let's do that. And the AI show says, yeah, good point. I knew Vaughn got his PhD. I didn't know it was communications, though. And Jama Lama says, I never watched Uncle, but I'm trying to remember a comedy spy show.
Oh, you're thinking of Get Smart, I bet. Get Smart was a huge hit too back in the 60s, early 70s. And it was basically a half-hour comedy, but it was definitely a spy show for sure.
And Gorilla's Random Thoughts wants PvP to know Waltons might be a bit late tonight, depending on how popcorn sales go.
That's okay.
That's a show note specifically for PvP about a show later on the Gorilla's Random Thoughts channel.
Yeah, I haven't even watched that one yet, and I don't know if I'm going to find the time, but if I can pop on, I will.
And Snortopoopa says lots of sci-fi type gadgets, a packet pen that's actually a communicator with worldwide range. Yes, from man to
Yeah.
uncle, definitely.
Actually, yeah, if you want to check out that gadgets page sometime later in the stream, Joe, that would be a lot of fun, probably.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Let's see. Snortopoopa's Cuber says, I always wondered if McCallum's character name in The Great Escape was an in-joke. Ashley Pitt in charge of the dispersal of an excavated dirt from the tunnels. In charge of the dispersal of excavated dirt from the tunnels.
Yeah, well, they were in a concentration camp and they dug tunnels to escape, and so of course, so once they dug the dirt out, they had to disperse it, subtly, so the guards wouldn't notice, right? So, yeah,
That makes sense. Wow, I need to see that movie.
it's a really good movie, actually, Jill.
Mega Cropper says he watched NCIS until Abby died and was recast.
Well, that's one problem. I'm glad I dropped out after 8 seasons because I've heard online that the basically the series lost a lot of its original cast, and I actually watched an interview on YouTube the other day. It was only a couple minutes, but it had McCallum reminiscing about his years on NCIS, and he said during his last season it got to the point where all the original cast, he was like the last original cast member left pretty much, right? And he was like, I'd go in, to the studio, I do the my scenes for that week, and it was like, where am I? It's like there's nobody here I remember. It's not like, it's just not the same thing anymore. So I think that's probably one reason, he hung it up. Though I think he was planning to do episodes in the 21st season, at least a few, but of course the writer's strike, prevented that from ever happening. So,
Oh, Well, that's a shame. I'd like to welcome to the panel Captain Infinity. He would like to join us today. Hello.
Hello there. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. How
Hey,
are you
hey.
doing?
I am operating within established. Well, frankly, I'm still waking up. Coffee is
Oh.
on its way.
Oh,
Jokes will
man.
be coming forthwith.
Coffee. That's
Caffeine always helps in the morning.
Hey, as long as the coffee's in the morning, you know that the day is going to be okay.
It's going to be a good day.
And welcome
Yeah.
back, Scotty R37. You had some internet issues.
I did.
Are
But thank
with
you.
us?
You're welcome.
We still don't see an avatar there, Scotty.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I should drop out and then come back again. I'll do that.
Mm-hmm. So Felton had misgivings about the role of Ilya because he wasn't sure if people would approve of a Russian character on an American television series. A daring idea for 1963.
It
With
was.
like you said, with the Cuban Missile Crisis, a year passed, and the
Yeah.
Berlin Wall and Vietnam in the headlines. Rolf, however, recalls the original concept of Uncle was very one-worldish. I said, wouldn't it be great if we were all together in one organization? Now, whether I really believed all this or not, it sounded good.
Fighting the Germans.
Mhm.
Actually, Jill, does that not sound like a certain federation in another show?
Exactly. Yeah. So lots of really good science fiction. We'll try to think of this, even if this is only near future, or
Well, that's why I love shows like Uncle and
or-
Star Trek, though,
or
is they try to they unite humanity. And I'll be quiet now, and please continue.
well, I just wanted to say, or reimagined present, because of course it's fiction. It can be different from what we have to experience today. And with escapism, you want to have a world that is a lot brighter, and it's a lot more fun with that kind of hopeful outlook that humanity can look past certain problems.
The 60s were a very optimistic decade, I must say, though it started to get a little more cynical maybe towards the last year or so.
When the LSD started to run out.
Well, they
Yeah.
had the Altamont concert with the Rolling Stones too, where the Hells Angels murdered somebody right in front of the stage. So
Oh my
that
God!
did
What?
not help it.
That's not good.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Decades over. That's it. Someone's been stabbed. Decades over, everyone. Right. Depression time. 3-day week.
It was kind of the
Right.
beginning of the end, though, because basically the dream started to die by like maybe 72, 73. It was pretty well done. Anyway, please
Really? There
continue.
was
I don't want to
okay.
sidetrack anything.
This is like a history lesson here. I don't understand. But so Rolf continued. He said, so I said, okay, every nation will have to throw agents into this pot like you would money into a central pot. They will all work for that organization, but underneath it all, they are all really spies for their own countries. So Illya Kuryakin, and this was really my concept, worked with the American agent, and they'd be great pals until someday somebody in Moscow pushed a button and said, okay, now you've got to go knock him off and go on to the next job, or vice versa. The CIA might say that Solo should go take care of him and go on to something else. Of course, that never arose. That was just one of my own little concepts in the back of my head. Yeah, I'm glad they never killed off Ilya.
Yeah, I'm glad Solo and Ilya never tried to off each other. That would have been horrible, actually.
Well,
Would have destroyed the whole concept
Wow.
of the series for me.
well, it might have been fun if they fought a little bit, but not kill each other.
Yeah, they did fight a little bit in one episode. Did we have this conversation with the torch and the shooting at the torch? There was one just temporarily for a minute. They were tactically against each other by accident.
And you see that one.
But it's just a memory. If I could tell you which episode, it would sound better. It's just a vague memory from watching it growing
I
up.
believe you.
I believe me too.
David McCallum and Robert Vaughn first met when McCallum's 2 brief scenes in the pilot were shot. Vaughn's was familiar with McCallum from his appearance in Freud and was impressed with him because virtually every young man in town was trying to get the role of Judas Iscariot in The Greatest Story Ever Told, and David got it.
For 20 pieces of silver.
The person most surprised by the meteoric rise in Illya's appeal may have been David McCallum himself. So McCallum wasn't told much about the role he was going to play. He says, I went to Norman Felton one day, McCallum says, and we had lunch. And I said, Norman, I'm a character actor and I would like to have more facts about my character. And shouldn't he be this? And shouldn't he be that? And they discussed a bunch of ideas. And Norman very simply gave me some very succinct advice. Don't make any assumptions. Don't make up your mind about anything. Let it happen from the script. And he wanted something to go on, and then he continues, but then what happened was after about 5 or 6 scripts, there was nothing specific about the character. And I began to realize that there was something wonderfully enigmatic about not knowing what the character was. And so from then on, whenever something specific arose, such as was he married, or had a family, or lived somewhere, or was he educated, or whatever, whenever those arose, I took them out with the permission of the writers. So in fact, the entire series, there's nothing specific about the character of Illya Kuryakin. And so
He's vague.
And that's part of his appeal, though, is he is kind of a mystery. I mean, of course, we're familiar with him because of his interaction with Napoleon, and we know he's a really great agent, carrying out the various missions in the series, but it's really quite accurate. I don't think we ever get a lot of personal history on Illya, so to speak. And it is kind of fun to have him as a bit of an enigma through the show. I think that's probably a big part of his appeal, actually.
Yes, and Captain, he is deliberately vague, so it wasn't an accident.
So do we know if he's not a replicant?
I don't think he's a replicant though, but he's so vague. Who knows? It is lightly science fiction. And I want to thank Darius Munchausen for giving us a 149 super sticker of popcorn. I mean,
raking in the cash, Jill. Raking in the cash.
Welcome. Yes, thank you, Darius. Very much appreciated. And glad you're here. And so the book continues. Oh, what is this about? It's talking about the Bow Wow affair. I think we saw that. Illya goes to visit.
I think that was an earlier one we watched already. Yeah.
Yeah, Illya goes to visit an older lady in the hospital after she's been attacked by her own dog. She asked him if he has ever been married. The script originally called for Illya to say he'd been married a long time ago, but McCallum changed the line to be ambiguous, an ambiguous literary quote to maintain the mystery. The mystery was further enhanced in one session of publicity photos when McCallum forgot to remove his wedding ring. And the picture, yeah.
Well, actually, Jill,
yeah, go ahead.
If you want to look at the background image you've got on the live stream here, you can see McCallum's wedding ring on his hand there.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that. Let's see.
Because it's right there. It's right on his hand. The hand. Oh, well, that's not it. I'm glad Dalek's enjoying his game, even though he's not really doing much to be a part of the stream. But that's fine.
Okay. Hey, don't worry about it, Dalek. Please,
no, I'm not worried.
Enjoy yourself.
I think it's kind of fun, actually.
I actually don't know how to drop. I actually don't know how to do that.
Okay,
you found me at a technical.
You can actually see it on the lower, right there. You can see his hand, and you can see that little silver ring on his finger.
Yeah, no, that's not what I want either.
No, that's not
I don't
it.
know how to do this. There's a way. I know
Most
there's a way. I've
actors
seen people do it.
instinctively know to remove the ring the moment they leave the house.
Well, I think actually I did read somewhere that McCallum actually didn't take his wedding ring off because he just didn't want to.
Do you have OBS on your computer, Jill?
Not right now. Not right now, no.
Oh, well, if you want to show a game like this, well, that's what you need, or something like it.
Definitely.
It certainly is a huge distraction.
I don't mind a little distraction. It's a good visual distraction for anyone watching.
Huh? Who said that? Oh, look, a pretty color.
Squirrel. Like
Squirrel. We actually have lots of
Squirrel
squirrels.
where?
Actually,
Ooh,
I saw a squirrel when I was
breakfast.
coming home today. We have lots of squirrels around here, actually, little buggers,
With
little
chips,
fuzzy
mayonnaise.
little buggers. I like squirrels though. Squirrels are kind of cool.
Little buggers.
I actually got almost attacked by a squirrel once. I was walking on the sidewalk. No, it was very weird. I was walking on the sidewalk, and
Weird.
all of a sudden, the squirrel comes out of nowhere, and he's running directly at me down the sidewalk for like a block, right? And he's running. He keeps coming. So eventually, he got maybe 20 feet away. So I stomped my feet, and then he took the message, and he veered off and left, right? But it's pretty freaky, actually. Because I had visions of the damn squirrel like crawling up my pant leg or something, right?
This is the best show ever.
It was kind of horrific, actually. Though I
that
do
does
like
sound scary. PvP. Oh my god.
It was. It really was kind of freaky.
And Darius says, "How could it not know what it is?"
I know that
wonder
reference.
That's a Star Trek quote.
No, that's a Blade Runner quote. Replicants.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Relating
but
to
he's so
Rachel,
mysterious that he might keep it a secret on purpose.
That's a great book, Jill. So
I don't understand what Scottish Celts is saying. Dude, stop pulling up the chat for being skint. I don't know what the word skint means.
Skint means broke.
Yeah, it means like without money.
It's
basically,
it's a British word for broke. In other words,
British
no
slang.
money.
British slang, yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
It means your pockets are empty, basically.
Yeah, Darius,
Exactly.
there's a
You're
technical
broke.
thing that Jill doesn't know how to do. I don't, but I'm going to find out after the stream. I'm going to find out how to do that. I think it's very easy, but just right
You
now.
can't just put everybody to the side.
It is easy, Jill.
Oh, yeah.
You put everybody to the side all
But
the
I don't know
time,
how to
you
do that. How do I do that? I've never done that before.
Only easy when you know how.
Wow.
There's no way out of this.
Oh, remove from stage. Okay, here we go.
I-
I'm gonna do it. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys the picture so you can see, and then I'm gonna bring everybody back. I'm even gonna remove myself so you can see. Okay, and now I'm back, and so I'm gonna bring everybody else back.
Thank you.
That was a silly thing. I don't know why I did that.
I feel funky.
Wow. I knew Jill had powers, but I didn't think she could bring me back.
All right, so there's a private chat. Oh, Scotty R37 says he has to take his leave and
Well, have a good
Just
one,
in about
Scotty.
20 minutes. I wanted to give you the heads up.
And
I've got to.
unfortunately, I have to take my leave too. I think my tea is here, so I have to go and eat. But hopefully I'll
have a good one.
Hopefully I'll be back later if you're still going, Jill.
Probably not. I'm gonna be closing up before the end of the hour.
Oh,
But
okay.
so Scotty will be leaving right around when I'm gonna be starting to wrap up, and so we'll let him go, and then I'll start wrapping up. Okay.
Night,
Okay.
Dalek.
Thank you, Dalek, so much for joining us today and sharing what you.
I know I didn't really say much, but honestly, I don't know much about this. I don't know much about.
Well, I don't
David
either. That's what I'm learning myself. That is the whole point of my channel, because there's a whole bunch I don't know, and I'm just trying to get to know a bunch of films and movies that I don't know about. And I'm glad you were here with me today to do that.
I was glad to come on. I'm glad to at least put in my. At least say something about not just about Michael Gambon and show you my game and
you need to and definitely we're gonna remember Michael Gambon for sure, and he's incredible. And if you want to hear more from Dalek, he has a channel, Dalek451. And
I do indeed. And before I go, let me just say I'm like as you may all know, tomorrow and no, not tomorrow. On tomorrow night, I will be over. Oh, please go and join us over at King Dolphin TV, where I'll be having my could say early birthday party. I could, and then hopefully on some point on Sunday I'll be hoping to do a stream of my own. So my little birthday celebration. So please come and join me for that if I do it.
That would be so great. Of course, on Sunday you should have a birthday stream.
Yeah,
for real party at Dalek's.
Party.
And also,
Toga.
And also, another idea, another thought I've had is maybe at some point do a little tribute stream to the late great Sir Michael Gambon. So I hope to.
I'll definitely be there for that. I would enjoy talking about Harry Potter and whatever else you want to say about Michael Gambon. That's one of my favorite things that I don't really get to talk about a whole bunch. So that'd be cool to join you to do that.
All right. Well, anyway, I gotta go. So thank you for having me on. As always, Jill, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you all later. So bye, everybody.
Bye,
Take care, Dalek.
Ciao.
Oh, and welcome back, Pop Culture Curator, and also hello in the chat to Princess Fiona, lurking but enjoying.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. I was on the phone.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you got to take those calls. Very important. Very important.
At this level, business never stops.
And Scottish Celt says, "Awesome stream. I'm away. Yeah, appreciate you hanging out with me today, Scottish." And we'll see you next time. Franco Walker says, "Take care to Scottish." And let's see here. And Princess Fiona says, we have a brown mod thread on Twitter, but I can't invite you to Franco Walker. Oh, interesting.
Brown mod?
Mr. Brown Alliance, the YouTuber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a really great YouTuber.
Hail Brown.
Even if I don't know what the topic is about, I really just like listening to all of the different European accents. It's just like comforting. And then Darius Munchausen says, "Skint." Wait, what does he say? Skint. Thank God it's not a skit, eh? Well,
a skit.
You know what? It's been a long time since that day when you had that skit with LDG.
The day of infamy, yes.
That skit. Oh, I forgot about that skit.
That classic skit where
that's still
everybody
getting talked about. You know, there's a new theory going around that it wasn't a skit, and the fact that it was a skit was indeed itself a skit.
Oh, and then saying it was a skit was a way to just cover up all of the actual drama and just say, "Oh,
right."
We didn't really."
Ironically enough, drew more attention
we had it
to
all
the drama
planned,
that we're still talking about today.
Right, it was all scripted, yes.
Yeah, that wasn't scripted. That was real.
No, I've grown a lot since that day.
Hello, Captain. How are you doing, sir?
Hello, Pop Culture. Good to see you.
And I'm no longer.
We've all grown a lot, except me. I haven't. I've shrunk.
The whole idea is to stay young at heart.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. And what I've learned since that day is that we are just having a whole lot of fun playing online, and so yeah, I'm not as mad about that as I was back then.
I still enjoy playing with my friends.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Everything's a skit.
Mark 130 says Jill is a Q. We weren't supposed to. Oh, and Scotty isn't leaving quite yet, but when you do go, Sorta Poopus wants you to know, have fun, Mr. Scotty. Have fun, Dalek.
So it is written, so shall be done.
Mm-hmm. And Sorta Poopus says, on small TV screens with low resolution, they never really worried about things like rings on early TV shows. There was no way for obsessive nerds like me to record and freeze frame things off the TV. Well, Yeah, unless you got a camera, but you're not like you're not gonna waste your film on taking pictures of the TV. You're gonna take pictures of your family.
Well, you're not going to believe it, but I was a geek and I actually did do that. I took snapshots of the
I do
television.
believe it. I was wondering.
I feel horrible. Yes,
No,
embarrassing now.
that's amazing. I mean,
That's
if
one
you
of the
put that
ways that
together,
that's one of the ways that they have some of the lost episodes of Doctor Who is people had done that, and so they recreated it because they had recorded the sound and taken free snapshots of the television, and that's the only way that some of the Doctor Who episodes survived.
That's true. Well, there's like 1,225 episodes of Dark Shadows, and amazingly, all of them are intact, at least as kinescopes, except there's one so-called lost episode. And the only way they recreated it when they put the DVD sets out was there was some fan somewhere who had actually made an audio recording of the entire episode. So they had the soundtrack, the complete 22 minutes, the audio. So what they did when they put out the DVDs, they took that, somehow they contacted the fan, they got the audio, the studio, they put it out, and they recreated the episode. Well, first, you got to remember there's often a recap in soap operas, right? So they had the first few minutes. They could put the video for that, and then the rest of the episode they actually pieced it together with stills that were taken during the production of that episode. So they pieced it together, and it's actually watchable, right? So it's
wow,
pretty
that's
amazing
pretty
how
cool.
fans matter. Fans
And
matter.
yeah, definitely fans who recorded their TV
Well, it
or
is
took
short.
pictures.
Fans is short for fanatic, so it doesn't
Yeah,
make
exactly.
sense.
So, pop
we are.
culture. If you made a scrapbook of all the pictures you took from your TV, that might be pretty cool.
Jim,
That's what I had a still camera taking photographs and a cassette recorder with piano keys, battery operated. It was so desperate because I wish I had a cassette recorder that plugged into the wall, but those batteries, you had to make those things last. I remember they'd go dead, and I'd wrap them in aluminum foil, put them in the oven at about 200 degrees, and it would give you about 5 minutes worth of life until pretty soon they got soggy and you couldn't redo that.
Ew.
I know.
But you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Jim says PvP ate the squirrel. I don't think so, but
no, I do not.
Well, he didn't exactly love it.
Well,
I
just stomped my foot and he ran away, so he got the message.
I bought a can of Cool Whip and they had eggnog flavored. Have you ever had that, BBP?
I've never
eggnog
heard of
flavored
that.
squirrel.
You guys have a lot more variety in food items in the U.S. than we do, to be honest. So, but we have
eggnog and maple syrup.
We have some weird potato chips and stuff up here. I hear that you guys don't have. So
yeah, no such thing as ketchup chips in the States.
Yeah, no ketchup. Ketchup chips are kind of fun once in a while.
Interesting.
You know what they put on their fries in Amsterdam?
Marijuana.
Mayonnaise. They drown it in that shit.
I've seen them do it, man.
Ugh. And when you go into a movie theater, you can take a beer. And I'm not talking about a paper cup. I'm talking about a glass of beer.
And a big fat reefer and some LSD. You can go watch Alien. It's amazing.
Oh, man.
Did Jill actually ever finish her book yet? Or
Darius says subscribe to Mr. Brown Alliance, and also that he still has the script in a drawer. That famous episode.
Literally.
Oh, and Princess Fiona says, I just watched the Man from U.N.C.L.E. episode with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, season 1, episode 9. It was good. The show was very fast-paced for its time. Yeah, I really love that.
It tends to be, yes.
That was just a bit of self-deprecating humor for me. Yeah, definitely. And the AI show says, I saw that episode. Bill was good. I think his career was netted prior to Star Trek than after. I enjoyed that episode too. There's a clip. I still want to clip William Shatner from that episode when he's partying because he's really funny.
Huh.
Yeah, Shatner had a good time filming that one for sure.
And sure, PvP. I'll get back to the book a bit. Let's see what.
I'm just gonna I'm just going to wander off for a second here
Okay.
onto NCIS, since millions of younger fans probably know him as Ducky. I'm not going to read much. I think that one thing that I enjoyed the most about Ducky was his actual name was Dr. Donald Ducky Mallard. Now, if you get the Donald Duck joke there, I'll give you a cookie because I think it's hilarious. I mean,
You get a cookie for getting the Ducky.
I think I was a big Donald Duck fan as a kid. The Carl Barks ones particularly, because he was the best artist and writer that did Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge. But I always thought, it was brilliant to name a character Dr. Donald Ducky Mallard. I just loved that. It made me laugh every time I thought about it. But I love how McCallum, played his character as a chief medical examiner. He would basically do the forensics, right, doing the autopsies on victims. And I read somewhere that he actually took his role so seriously as a medical forensic examiner. He actually attended medical conventions of forensic doctors, and he would study the career and learn about it. And I remember seeing there's a video, I think on YouTube somewhere, where he's actually doing a presentation at a convention of medical examiners, talking about his role on NCIS. And it's like, once again, here's an amazing man that did not ever took his career for granted. He always worked hard and put 100% into any character he was playing. And yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I won't go on because there's too much stuff here about NCIS, which we're not really concentrating on today, but I just wanted to bring it up briefly.
And no, I definitely appreciate you mentioning that, and that was very well spoken. Thank you.
Yeah,
PvP.
very cool.
Oh, you're welcome,
That's some good
guys.
stuff.
Have you
Well, you're
guys brought
welcome.
up his one season show, The Invisible Man?
I did mention
I
that
haven't
earlier,
seen it.
actually. I mentioned it early, Pop. Now that's a good one.
Sorry.
But if you have
Yep.
something more to add to that, that would be great.
Yeah, if you want to add
Well,
more.
honestly, I think it's available on YouTube, or I know it's somewhere because I was able to find it. I don't know if all the episodes are available, but I know it was only one season. But that was my introduction to him. I was a young kid, and it was early 70s. I'm guessing around 73, 74.
Was David McCallum in Babylon 5? Gorilla says
Apparently.
he was.
I think he did one episode of Babylon, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
He was in Sequest as well.
Oh, nice.
DSV.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he was in Sequest, come to think of it. Yeah,
You mean
for a while.
You
Flipper
calling me a
Voyage-
liar, Wonka? No.
Flipper voyages to the bottom of
It's
the
only
sea
true
track.
once PvP confirms it.
Well, and it was interesting because I was sort of scanning through, and he was the voice of Alfred in several animated DC animated Batman movies.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah,
Is that right, Batman?
he's all over the place. He's such
David-
a like.
Dave was a hard-working actor for sure.
Well, and it's incredible just because like last week my Facebook wall was filled with happy birthdays because he had just turned 90, and then it was only a matter of too short a time
Oh.
after that is that I got the information that he had passed away as well.
Yeah, I
So,
think he
I
died
was glad-
6 days after his birthday, I believe, Scott.
Well, he did age well. He looked really good up to the end.
Sure.
Yeah, he did. Even in NCIS when I watched him, he still looked really great, actually.
But still, if I had my druthers, I would take Robert Vaughn as Napoleon Solo over David McCallum. I find Robert Vaughn to be just classically handsome. I do get man crushes, and Robert Vaughn is one of them.
Yes,
What
I
about
was reading the
Robert Vaughn
book
versus
earlier.
John Hamm?
Well, they had a different look. Like for me, I like.
That's a question. That's a question. No, wait. PvP.
Would you
Captain
take
Billy
Ham over
asked the
Vaughn,
question.
Scotty?
Would you take Ham over Vaughn?
Yes, of course. But like if and I sort of became a Robert Vaughn fan in the early 90s.
I thought you were going to say Robert My Burnett there.
No. And that was because of Man from U.N.C.L.E, and he was in a bunch of movies that I had seen. He was even in Basketball, which is kind of hilarious.
He was in Battle Beyond the Stars.
And I enjoy him. So he's sort of a proto John Hamm. He was John Hamm before John Hamm.
Proto Ham.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So the book continues. The biggest indication of the show's popularity was the avalanche of fan mail. At one point, over 10,000 letters per week, not per month, but per week, were being received at MGM and NBC. The amount of mail addressed to David McCallum was greater than received by any other male MGM star, including Clark Gable in his
Damn,
prime.
that's a lot of tail.
Mhm.
Sorry.
No, you're right. McCallum and Bond received the majority of the letters. Yeah, earlier in the book, it made a joke. Bond would make a joke that he got all of the letters from the old ladies, and McCallum got the letters from the younger ladies.
Oh, it's incredible how popular the show became by season 2. Um, and I've also read the 10,000 letters, thing, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Like back in the day when they made TV shows that people would fall in love with, right, and care about. And I don't think there's any shows getting 10,000 letters a week anymore
They get
from
tweets
fans.
instead.
Maybe hate mail.
No,
Yeah,
there are,
tweets. Yeah, tweets
yeah,
and stuff.
there are plenty.
Definitely.
There are good shows. I know that there's a
Oh,
lot
no,
of
there are.
stuff that you have to cut through,
I
but
need to
there are
check
still
out.
good television.
I have heard The
Definitely.
Expanse in its first 3 or 4 seasons is quite good. I need to check it out.
Oh,
It's
you
on
read my
list.
mind. I was just going to say, maybe I should have written a letter. Dear Expanse, you're doing a really good TV show. There should be more of this. Yours sincerely, Captain Infinity.
Yeah, that's one
Give it
show
a
that's
go.
definitely on my watch list for sure, guys. Yeah.
Like I like The Boys. Like there is still quality
I've
television.
heard The Boys is pretty good. What was that one takeoff on the Kung Fu movies?
Hong Kong Fooey.
No, that's not it.
You
It
didn't
was
like
the
Hong
one
Kong
with
Fooey?
what's
He's
his
a super
face, the young
guy.
guy.
He's quicker than a human eye.
I don't know, but if you do find out, please let us know. Princess
Yeah,
Fiona says
I
he
can't
played a bit of a
remember.
knob in Babylon 5, though.
He was a
well.
bit of
I
a
don't know.
knob.
I got it.
He had a
I've only
range.
seen
He had
season
a
1 of
range.
Babylon 5. I got to get to it.
Oh, by the way, since we mentioned Robert Vaughn in passing, since Scotty is a big Robert Vaughn fan, I just want to mention
Not as
his
much as Ham,
last
though.
series. Robert Vaughn's last series is called a show called Hustle. As in, Hustle is about a group of, and once again, it's a team of con artists that basically work together to con bad people, evil people, nasty people out of their money, and basically do the Robin Hood thing and give money from bad people to good people that deserve it, right? Well, they'll also help if somebody's been, screwed over, they will help the victim to get revenge on the bad guy. And it's a really good show. I've got some of the DVDs, and it's an excellent show. I highly recommend it.
Well, and if you are a Robert Vaughn fan, I would check out the movie Bullet, which is pretty much around this time. So it's still young, thin, and trim Robert Vaughn. He plays a bit of a smarmy assistant DA, but still, it's nice nice to see him in his prime.
Yeah, Bullet's a good movie. He also did that. What was that Western Magnificent Seven? I think he was.
Yeah, good call, man.
That was a great film. I love that.
Yes.
That film.
Yeah. So, Snortopoopas Cuber says, sadly, the bear needs to waddle forth. Lovely show and nice visit to my cubhood. Take care and have fun, every human, or whatever you are.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Poopas.
Good night, Storty. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, thanks
Adios,
for hanging out.
Poopy.
It was so cool to see you.
I just want to give you a bit of background on Hustle quickly, because it is a really excellently written and show with a great cast. It ran for 8 series. It was British, 8 series, which is a total of 48 episodes. Because the Brits, they love those like 6-episode seasons, right?
Sometimes we have 7.
But Robert Vaughn, let's see, I'm just looking Robert Vaughn's character was Albert Stroller, and he played like an aging con man. But I think, to me, when I watched the shows, it was like Vaughn was basically playing an older version of Napoleon, which made it a lot of fun to watch, because he basically was playing an older version of Napoleon, conning
really?
bad guys. And it's a really good show.
I
highly recommend it.
I need to thank Scottish Celts for 99-pound 0.9 0.99 pound super sticker for it's a little happy face with sunglasses. Really cool.
Nice Scottish Celts.
Cheers. Anyway,
Down in a pound.
Oh,
that
anyway,
that
hold
is
on. Wait
my
a minute, guys.
time. Oh, my mistake.
No,
I was
no,
just
not your mistake. Not
I
yours.
was going to
Hold
take
on. I need to
my
make sure.
leave. I
Well,
do
yeah,
appreciate.
give me a moment.
Oh,
Hold
sure.
on.
Take 2.
2 moments. There you are.
There we are. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so it's with a heavy heart we celebrate David McCallum, but like 90 years old, that's one heck of a run, and with such a varied career, I'm happy that we got as much of his talent as we did, and there's no shortage of it, and with so much television and film to enjoy. I'm glad that I get to see so much more of Man from U.N.C.L.E. and celebrate all of his roles, from stuff that I haven't seen, like The Invisible Man, and stuff that I will revisit again and again, like The Great Escape. It's fantastic. But Jim, Commodore Jim, I am following you now. We are friends on the Twitter. And so thank you for that invite. When you go live, I'd love to join. I saw your morning shows. Jill, thank you again. Pop, loved the Scanners review. I had no idea that that Patrick McGowan was in that movie. I haven't seen Scanners, but I had it thoroughly spoiled for me, and I adored every minute of it. So thanks, man.
Sorry to hear that, but glad you were able to enjoy it.
Oh no, it makes me want to see it in context now. It's great. So thank you.
Yes,
for doing
I do
those.
recommend watching it. Yeah, I hate giving away spoilers, but I highly recommend watching it. It's a great movie, and he does a good job.
Yeah, Scanners is really good, Scott. Definitely worth a watch for sure, man.
Yeah, watch
Absolutely, and
Scanners,
hey,
Scotty.
Canadian, so that's good.
That's right.
Yeah, and Darius says, "Take care, Scotty R37. You, my Jim dog."
You're the man now, dog.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you, PvP. Thank you, Finity. And Jill, I will see you the next time we journey to hell to blow the shit out of some demons.
Yes. Also, I forgot one
Thank
more
you,
thing.
Scotty.
Jim had a message for you. News break. Next year, 2024, I'll be receiving my own Star Trek fan films. Will Scotty beam aboard?
That would be
And
great.
I'm assuming that's for you.
Oh, so you're going to be he's going to be reviewing stuff like Star Trek Continues, I'm guessing. That's
No, he said his own fan films.
Oh, I thought he said reviewing fan films. Okay.
He makes fan films, and he's going to review them.
Okay, well, that's fine.
And cheers, Fiona. Thank you so much. I will see you guys in the future. Scottish Celts, you're the man now, dog. I'll see you, Franco. And Gorilla, don't take any wooden nickels. There's your tip. I'll see you guys in the future.
Okay.
Yeah, see you soon.
Ciao, Scotty.
Bye, Scotty.
Thanks for
and
being
actually, we're actually pretty close to the end of the show. We're like 20. I have about 20 minutes left.
It's that 1 o'clock alarm thing happening, isn't it, Jill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Well, that's
so
my
I've got
time.
22 minutes. Yes. But I do need to thank Princess Fiona with the $2 super chat. She says, "Still waiting for channel memberships. Love, Jill." Thank you so much. And I appreciate that sentiment. I need to come up with what I want to do with that. I need to come up with a game plan because I wanted to have some value for whoever does become a member. So I'll let you know when I figure that out. Thank you so much, Princess Fiona. Really means a lot.
T-shirts.
T-shirts. Okay.
Coffee mugs.
Princess Fiona also says goodbye to Scotty. Scotty is the Jim to my Huck Finn. Oh, now that makes sense.
Go paint that fence.
Scotty R37 brings the snark. Yeah, I know. And I'm definitely miss him anytime he leaves, but just with 20 minutes left, it doesn't hurt as bad as when he leaves 10 minutes into the stream.
I didn't think Scotty was actually too snarky today. I actually really thought he had a lot of interesting comments. So
agreed. He was amazing.
Yeah, he was great.
Really good. And Dalek451 says, also the world's fastest steam locomotive was called the Mallard, held speed record since 1938. When he was mentioning that Ducky was also, the named as such because his last name was Mallard. And
Well, that's a duck, right?
several
So it's
people
like Donald
did say
Ducky
that.
Mallard is such a great joke. I just love it. Oh, by the
McCallum.
way,
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
nobody's mentioned. There was an NCIS episode where somebody asked the lead character, "What did Ducky look like when he was young?" And I can't remember the actor's name. The lead guy, though, that was the star of the show, he turns around and looks at the guy and he goes, "When he was young, he looked like Illya Kuryakin." I mean, that is brilliant writing, right?
Oh, they made the reference into the show. That's pretty
They
funny.
did. They put it in NCIS, and I just love it. It's so good. Yeah.
Ooh. All right. And the AI show says David McCallum did sit in on autopsies to prepare for his role as Ducky on NCIS. His
Yeah.
view was that if he was going to play a medical examiner, he needed to know what they actually did. A good professional move. Definitely. Really
Yeah.
cool.
He was
And
really dedicated.
Dalek says, thank you for having me on, Jill. I'll still be in the chat. Thank you, Dalek.
Oh, Jill, did you find any of those pages I sent to you? There was one with Uncle Gadgets. It might be kind of fun to look at if you want.
Oh, can you put it in the put it in the private chat? Because I'm not going to go to my Twitter right now. I don't like
Crap.
checking my Twitter during the show. I guess maybe you don't either, so you know what I'm saying. But I guess I will.
Give me a moment then, because I'll have to search.
Well, because you sent me a bunch of stuff, and I don't know what's what. I mean, I'm not getting mad at you or anything.
How
but
much stuff are you sending, PvP?
He sends a lot of things.
Well, I'm an enthusiastic person. I like to share with my friends.
Like pop culture says, a fanatic, a true one.
Hey, I'm a passionate man. What can I say?
The AI show says to Princess, I saw that episode. Bill was good. I think his career. Oh yeah, that's right. The episode with the Man from U.N.C.L.E. episode. And McCallum took the opposite tack with Illya. Then
that was the most. Sorry, that was the best delivery ever. Most ironic delivery ever. Like, I'm a passionate man.
Just being honest.
No, I know it's the casual delivery that's tickling me.
Oh, I think I've got it here. Let me give me a second to.
Like for Equal Comedy Gold, I'll be going, I'm really laid back and casual.
Yeah. I am generally laid back.
The AI show says McCallum. I'm forgetting how to pronounce it. McCallum took the opposite tack with Illya than Leonard Nimoy on Mission Impossible. Nimoy found his character Paris vague with no real background. McCallum thought to choose to make Illya entirely enigmatic. Before we get off of the book completely, I wanted to see. I'm gonna do a speed run through the book and see if there's anything really interesting.
I just posted in the private chat the Uncle Armory from website, Jill. So
okay, great. I'll look at that in just a minute. I'm gonna do a little speed run to make sure there's nothing super interesting from the book. So I think what's left is the awards that McCallum received. He received his Emmy nomination for Best Supporting Actor, and McVaughn was not nominated, and the Uncle set was afraid that there would be problems. But McCallum received a telegram from Vaughn saying, "Congratulations, all the way with Illya K." Signed Robert.
Yeah, they were basically buddies, I think.
They were. Cool. And so the cast and crew received multiple platitudes. One of their most prestigious of these were the Golden Globe Award by Hollywood Foreign Press Association to The Man from U.N.C.L.E. for Best TV Series in 1966. Both Robert Vaughn and David McCallum were nominated as Best Actor and also nominated as Best Series from Screen Producers Guild by the Motion Picture Sound Editors and by the American Cinema Editors. The music for the show also won a Grammy Award for Best Original Score written for a motion picture or TV show. And let's see what's specific to David McCallum So the American Legion named The Man from U.N.C.L.E. the best family entertainment series for 1966. The
Cool.
result of polling over a million members. Robert McVaughn
Wow.
won Photoplay Award, Most Popular Actor of 1965, and David McCallum won the Motion Picture Costumers Adam and Eve Award for Most Popular TV Actor of the Year. But the most prestigious award was the Emmy, presented each year since 1949. Let's see. Okay, David McCallum was nominated for individual achievement as an actor and performer. And I think there was one more thing. Okay, so this is the last thing I'll read from the book. David McCallum agrees about, what does he agree about? I don't know what he agrees about, but here's what he says. I think the chemistry, the discipline, and the fact that it was purely escapism made for its success. At that time, there was enough serious political news going on overseas that people needed an escape. McCallum also feels that one individual was responsible for the success of this series. I don't think you can separate Robert and myself and Leo G. Carroll and everything the writers did. It's all very well to say that so-and-so is terrific. Even today, Don Johnson is a product of Miami Vice, and Miami Vice is a product of Don Johnson. I think these things play upon each other, and I think that the chemistry the three of us had, along with Dean Hargrove, Peter Allen Fields, and Norman Felton, and Sam Rolfe, is the reason why it's an interplay of one upon the other. And so now I'm going to share.
I just
The
want to
link.
quickly say that I think what you just read, McCallum's description of the show and why it was such a popular and successful TV show, is exactly spot on. I mean, I think David just hit the target on the bullseye without analysis, because that totally sums up the appeal of the show.
Yeah, because at first when I looked at the book, I was disappointed they didn't have very specific episode synopsis. So I just went through it. Every time it said David McCallum, I clipped it, and it seemed to work out pretty well.
You got to
And I got
scroll
through all
down
that.
to the TV series because they got the damn movie at the top for some reason. But there's the second one. The second one. That's the one you want. And
Very
it's pretty
good.
cool. It's got a lot of information, actually.
Oh, it looks like a lot of videos. Oh, okay.
A
Whoa.
lot of cool stuff.
Oh, okay, good. You can click on the pictures like that. Look at that. That's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting photos. And there's the Uncle car. I wanted to mention that it's called it's the Piranha car that comes in season 3, Jill, and it's one of the coolest cars. Well, you know, AMT wanted to make Star Trek models, right, to sell to the public. It was the same company. AMT told the producers in season 3, "Hey, if you guys will let us build an actual car for your stars to ride in, we'll build a model kit to sell to the millions of fans and make a lot of money." And of course, the producers of the show said, "Yeah, if you want to build an actual car."
Absolutely.
And it's really an awesomely cool car. The only trouble is it was apparently, as great as it looks, it was a real pain for the actors to get in and out of, do its design. So I think it only appears in like maybe 4 or 5 episodes, but it's still a pretty awesome looking car.
Yeah, definitely. Franco Walker says, please subscribe, share, hit the like, and select live chat. That would be really cool. And Donnie says, X will always be Twitter to me as well. Yeah, I still do that. And Fiona says, you can't just start with a monthly members only stream. That's enough, really. Oh, I can. I can just start with monthly membership stream.
You can or you
No,
can't?
you're right.
I'm totally confused now.
No, she meant can.
Okay.
So what she's means is
another way with apostrophe, eh?
Yeah, she corrected herself in the next.
Oh, phew! Comedy gold.
Yeah, so Scotty R37 says, cheers, all stay wicked, cool, peeps. And also, I forgot Robert Vaughn was the bad guy in Superman 3. And here, of course, is the little microphone pin thing. And Dalek451 says, yes, again, a mallard is common type of duck. Yeah, we have them. We have ducks too. We know what mallards are. And Donnie says, oh, what an enterprising legend Bill Shatner is. This. Okay, great. Just checking on the chat, seeing why my cat is pulling on the cords.
The cat in the chat.
The cat in the chat is pulling on my cords.
I think my favourite duck was Colonel Gaddafi. Gaddafi duck! But unfortunately, he didn't.
Well, for some people, fortunately.
Oh, good point.
See. And yeah, no, these are just cool pictures. Did you have anything specific you wanted to talk about from this website?
Not really. I just basically found it last night, so I just thought I'd throw it up there. But I thought it had a lot of cool shots of the Uncle, like the Uncle technology, like the guns and the car, and it's just
Hans,
a
look at
lot
the
of
size
stuff
of that
on.
barrel. Is there a silencer in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me?
Well, the thing I loved about the Uncle Special is it could be just a small pistol, but if you could add the shoulder piece, the scope, the long range. I mean, look at how
You
many.
might as
This
well
is what,
just take a rifle at this point.
well, there's like what, 7 pieces of that damn gun, so you'd probably be dead before you got it assembled if you're on the
It's
field.
like when
But
people get a pad, get one of those pads, and then put a keyboard on it. It's like, why don't you just get a computer now?
but it's a very cool looking gun. I don't know. I was mainly in season 1, if I remember. They don't seem to use it much after that, but it's like Star Trek, right? You got to have the cool gadgets to pull the fans in,
Yeah, and they definitely do. Well, there's a little communicator. That's cool.
That was season 1 when they had the cigarette pack communicator, and then season 2 they went to the pens.
Oh, I like this. This one's what is this one? A little recorder, maybe? Or
I guess I
I have to say personally, I think the shoe phone is still my favorite.
Get smart. Yeah, the shoe phone is hilarious.
Gotta say, the first time I took a call on my watch, I was like, I'm freaking Dick Tracy up in this mofo. That's just me then, obviously. I like taking a call on my watch. It's the best thing ever.
They
No one
still
else
don't
on
have
the
video
phone call on the watch,
on those,
no?
do they have
Jill, you
video
ever
on
take
the
a phone call on
like
your watch?
Tracy?
Pops.
And there's the cool thrush rifle,
Oh,
of course.
wait a minute. We had two
cool.
conversations going on at the same time. Pop culture curator, what were you trying to say?
I was asking if they have video calling on phones yet. Like Dick Tracy.
Oh, on this show?
No,
No,
Dick Tracy
no.
had a Dick Tracy, the old comic strip. He had a watch where it had like FaceTime video. Do they have that yet? Is what I'm wondering.
They had it on Inspector Gadget on the cartoon.
You know, I think in reality we got audio calls on the watch, and you still have to have your phone nearby. But I'm sure that's the. Oh, can you imagine that, Pops? Tiny little phone calls on your watch. Like, look at you, you're 3 pixels high.
Right.
Well, you've seen all of the series PvP. Did they ever do mobile video calls?
Oh, well, if they did, I don't remember, because as I'm saying, Jill, a lot of these for me are like rewatching for the first time, because I honestly haven't seen any of these episodes probably in 20 years. So it is kind of fun, though. There's the Uncle car. God, I love that car. Look, there's one there. Go back to the one right on the right. Yeah, isn't that not a cool looking vehicle? I mean, look at this thing.
Yeah.
And I love they called it the Piranha. It was like, yeah, that's cool.
Because they really all are always driving kind of smaller cars. And they're really cute.
Well, they were driving traditional cars, in season 1 and 2, right? But in season 3, AMT said, "Hey, we'll build you a really cool car if you want to."
This is really cool.
let
I
us
could
do
see
a
it being a
model.
Hot Wheel.
It was great. Actually, they're still out there. You can still probably get copies of this on like eBay or something. But I think I'm disappointed though, because there's like 4 or 5 episodes where they actually used it, and then they gave up because I guess the actors were just having too much of a problem getting out of the darn thing, because just the way it was designed, right? So
Okay, well,
it wasn't practical.
Wow, yeah, it does seem kind of a tight fit. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat if anybody wants to check out this website about Uncle props.
It's a
And
very detailed
costumes,
website. It's very detailed.
because I don't
for
have
sure.
time to go through each thing here because they're starting to get into costumes, and I only have 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I know you're getting towards the end of the stream, but I just thought it'd be fun to take a look at some of the gadgetry.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you
that-
so
5
much.
minutes until the destruction of the Nostromo.
That's one thing I like about Uncle is all the gadgets as an extra layer of fun.
And I'd like to thank Scottish Celts again for another super sticker. Thank you so much for all the super stickers today, Scottish
Sound
Celts.
as a pound.
I
Very
really
cool.
enjoy your company today. And also I want to thank Taylor Swift, greater than Disney Star Wars, for a super chat for $1.
What does that mean? Another time.
It's Matt G, and he's saying he really likes Taylor Swift. But even if you don't really like Taylor Swift, you've got to admit Taylor Swift is greater than Disney Star Wars.
I like early Madonna greater than the prequel trilogy. Lucky Star Wars. Sorry, that's one for the Madonna fans.
Oh, Darius Munchausen says anti-establishment Jill.
Yes.
And oh man, there was just so many cool chats today. I had about 60 chats. I didn't get to, as is a thing that happens when you have a really great show. And I'm really happy. I wish I could stay like another hour to get through all of this stuff.
That says a lot, Jill.
fun.
When you get so many people tuning in, it tells you a lot about how popular.
Well,
David
and it's not
McCallum
even
was.
just so many people. It's also the quality of the people who want to contribute so much to the stream.
Yeah, this is much better than the usual riffraff I get at my place. Not you, Franco. You're fine.
The thing is, David McCallum was such a great actor for so many decades that
he is.
He has millions and millions of worldwide fans, and that's why we're getting as many people in the chat today, is because we want to remember and honor this great man that gave us so many years of quality, high quality entertainment.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do a bit of a quick lightning round here. The AI show says McCallum took the opposite track. Okay, I saw that. I read that one. Okay, and Uncle was essentially a variant of James Bond on TV.
Yep.
Stornopoopus says, I think the closest they came to addressing Ilya's Russian origin was in the Neptune affair. And Jim's Landscape says, wow, I was promoted by Orville Nation. So cool. And he used my last live and seen me in my Star Trek 2 uniform. Orville Nation is the greatest. I love PJ from Orville Nation. Definitely subscribe to PJ from Orville Nation. He does nothing but promote everybody and is just a generally awesome, cool, lovely person. And Uncle Torpoopus said Uncle didn't have a one world government. They just ignored the Cold War politics for the most part. Uncle fought on international non-aligned group of naughty doers. Yeah, that sounds more right. Thank you, Snort, for that correction. And Gorilla says, hey, I just remembered Ducky was in one episode of Batman 5. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, he put that in the chat twice. That's why I read it twice. Oh, no. Herc says coffee isn't doing it for me today. I need a lightning strike. I know.
Have another coffee.
That's called a Red Bull.
Yeah, have another coffee before you get hit by lightning. That might be a good idea, actually.
Yeah, there's many solutions and priorities.
Jamalama says I had a lovely Guatemalan coffee this morning. Oh,
nice.
The AI show says Vaughn opposed the Vietnam War and even debated William F. Buckley on his Firing Line TV show. I think he ended up having to do The Protectors with the Andersons in the UK because of his stance.
Yes, that's another good point. The Protectors was a UK show done by Jerry Anderson, and Vaughn was on that. I think it ran for a season with like 26 episodes.
Very wooden.
And it's actually pretty good. That's another one to add to your list, Jill. The Protectors.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm gonna add to Jill. Jill, can't beat and join them. I'm gonna send you a poster. You must watch this also, Jill.
Okay, a poster.
I'm a passionate man.
Lots of sci-fi type gadgets. A pocket pen's actually a communicator. Oh yeah, I read that one. And the uncle was importantly better in seasons 1 and 2 and went downhill in later seasons. Yes, I heard that was because of Batman and Robin. I
It's a,
always heard great things
it's
about Batman and Robin, except I guess what happened in terms of how it influenced other shows.
well, the thing was, Batman became such like a top hit show for the seasons it was on the TV, which it only had 3, but it was like one of the biggest shows on TV, Jill. And of course, once other producers of other shows noticed the ratings, they thought, "Hey, Batman's satirical, Batman's camp. If we can play up the camp angle in our shows, our ratings will go up as well." And it's like, nope,
Oh, and
wrong assumption,
at the
guys.
last second, Tiger Stripes is here. Several
Oh,
actors
I like
worked in
Tiger
Europe or
Stripes.
the UK
Wow,
during the
Hello
Vietnam
there.
War,
amazing.
or what
Yeah,
I've
the
heard
sad thing
were.
about Batman is everybody was rushing to be Batman, and by the time they started copying it, it sank in the ratings. It was like a Batman was very popular for like 1 or 2 seasons, but everybody got burned out really fast. So
Yeah,
by the time all the shows started imitating it, it was already on its way down. So that's what was
exactly.
really sad. If they would have just stuck to their own
Oh,
guns.
Oh, they should have. I mean, Uncle was
yeah.
great in season 1. Well, I think it was
So they
almost
were
perfect
they were
season 1.
trying to chase a fad that was already going away.
Exactly. That's
Exactly.
exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Wow. Princess
Well,
Fiona
yeah.
says Ian Fleming left the show after season 2. That's why it went downhill. Thank you, Princess Fiona.
Actually, Fleming left it before the show even started filming,
Oh,
but yeah, it's season
oh,
3
thank you.
that's the worst.
You,
That's
you,
when you
you
get
do,
the full
everybody.
Batman effect in
Okay.
season 3, and there's some pretty awful episodes actually. Actually, even a few at the end of this season. You will see how bad it can get, but they did bounce back in season 4 though with more serious stories. But unfortunately, they only lasted for half a season and got canceled. So
And you guys do
Oh,
know that, by the way, I know it's off topic, but Ian Fleming and Christopher Lee were close friends, and Ian Fleming wrote James Bond with Christopher Lee in mind, but Christopher Lee turned it
okay,
down.
guys. I really loved hanging out with you guys, but now I have to
Oops.
dash. My son, I'm 3 minutes over
Drive
time.
safe, Jill. Drive
And
safe.
yeah, I've got to get going.
This show's over, folks. It's not
yeah,
Stromo. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
just want to say, Jill,
And-
this was
Goodbye,
probably
everyone.
this was a great episode honoring David McCallum's memory, and I want to thank you deeply for doing this for all of us. And you're a class act for honoring one of the greatest actors that I've ever seen.
You're welcome.
Amen.
Yes, and it's also I'm so glad that I could do that. Thank you for that. That was the perfect outro for this. And I've got to go enjoy
Bye-bye,
the fall
everybody.
fair with my son.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah,
Okay,
bye everybody.
have a great day, everybody. Great weekend.
Yeah, have a wonderful
Vote
See
in
you
my
day.
soon.
poll, everyone. On my channel.
Yeah, vote
I
in
got-
his poll.
I actually did already, Pop.
All right.
Emma,
Bye-bye. Thank you,
and here-
Jill,
Have
for
a
having me
good
Yeah, you're
one.
on.
welcome.
Bye,
You're welcome,
everybody.
guys.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you to everyone in the chat, and thank you for being here, and thank you, panel guys. And I'll see you guys next time here.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.